One, 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 nessuno crede ancora che ti amo. E perché non...
And we're live. It's Coding with Fire. I'm EJ.
And I'm Ian.
And this is an extra special episode because we're both on the same coast now, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, we got our time zones aligned. Taking some adjustment for me, but it's sweet.
Yeah, and in the middle of you saying that, your internet gets bad. You want to tell the people why that might happen?
Yeah, so I'm broadcasting live from a camper in a somewhat, boony rural location, Tallahassee, Florida, in the outskirts of Tallahassee, Florida, quarantining, and I'm getting my Wi-Fi from my parents' house, and there's rain between me and the router, I think.
So it was good. We did a sound check for a while. It seemed to be working well, but because of Murphy's Law, as soon as we went live, it seems to. But we'll bear with us. We're gonna freestyle through it.
Yeah. And I think, we'll see about me being able to share my screen. Hopefully, I can keep doing that. And if not, you'll just have to drive. You'll just have to drive the ship, and I'll talk smack.
Well, we're gonna keep your screen around for as long as possible, I think. It's for me. It's pretty nice to go through that. So actually, while it's still working, while it's functional, one of the things that I was curious to talk to you about, since we had a week off, there are a few streams that we skipped in order for you to do your incredible cross-country move. Things about, I've been trying to do a lot more around outputs, thinking about the things that, I create, and whether it's data visualization or writing or beats or whatever, but, closing in on that last 10% of, okay, now that I read this thing, how do I then get into something where, either I can show other people, or, it's something that feels done, or, in a publishable state, whereas, a lot of the things I make, I sort of, sit around and sort of unfinished state, but you seem really good at, getting that last 10% done, so I wanted to, I'm sure if I'm curious about those things that other people are, so I wanted to, talk a little bit about, the things that, your process in terms of how you go from an idea into, turning that into something that is, quote, publishable or whatever, right? Whether that's a notebook or a blog post or a tweet or whatever that is. And you've been doing that a lot lately with smoke maps and all these sort of, some of the Coding with Fire stuff that we've done. So what is your process? How do you make sure that you get something useful at the end of an experiment or a prototype?
Yeah, it's funny because I think my key is just, instead of doing that extra 10%, is I move the goalpost back so that I don't have to do the 10%. And I say it jokingly, but also it's kind of serious, right? Because I think a lot of the stuff I've been, actually ever since we first started hacking together and working together, it's my natural state is to sort of want to play with ideas, try them out, and then, put it out there and see if it resonates with people or not. But also if it, I just doing something immediately makes me think of another thing I want to try, right? And so it's really hard to sit down and really polish off that 10% and make something really great. So instead, what I've done is found ways to be okay with things being a little bit less finished, but in a way that it's okay for them, right? So for example, the way I use observable a lot is I can actually, like, I'm writing my code as a diary in a way, right? Like I'm trying to figure out some data. And so with the air quality stuff you mentioned, I can pull it up real quick. I realized I could make this collection of these notebooks that illustrates the point. Like, the first thing I did, because I kind of knew I wanted to visualize some air quality data. I knew that there was, like, especially when the fires first started happening, it was like, you know, what can we see? How can I, like, maybe get a forecast, or how can I see what the history is and this kind of stuff. So I was like, I'm sure people are mapping it already. And I started, you know, in this, as I was categorizing it and you know, having these pointers, so that when I finally did, like, I was able to explore NASA satellite data in one notebook. I think I link to here. I don't know. Like, these things branch out of this one notebook, right? So it's like, this was not finished when I published it, but I was able to collect stuff, and other people could then reference that, and I reference it myself. But then every other exploration, because, like, I do want to show.
So this is like sort of like a lab book of, like, notes to yourself, almost, of like, this is what I'm working on and thinking about, and here's other pathways. Like, did you put stuff that we were gonna do later into this, so that or like, how did you use that main meta document?
Yeah. So, like, for instance, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to look at the fires over time, right? Because a lot of them were happening and they were spreading fast, and, like, where are they happening? So, like, getting that satellite data and parsing it, I was able to do this. And, you know, one of the outputs that was interesting from this was time-lapse animation. I think that's something that's going to come up again and again as we talk about this stuff, because I'm becoming more obsessed with them. But this notebook itself, right, is pretty raw still. Like, it has a lot of the process just as you scroll. It's what I was using to figure out the color scales and, you know, eventually settling on the graphic here. And instead of trying to say, okay, I'm going to turn this into a 10%, I'm going to do that 10% final polish thing so I can publish this and have it be presentable, I just hit publish and I shared the video. And then I moved on, because the other thing was, like, okay, this visualization that showed me that this data isn't really what I wanted to look at deeper, right?
Well,
like,
I guess
I got to a point.
That's the question. It's like, what was that moment like? How did you know when it was time to move on, right? And, like, for me, that moment is always too, like, I'm already tired of it by the time I want to move. Like, I don't even want to go through, you know what I mean? Like, so how did you know when that moment hit? Was it, like, late at night, or, like, was it, like, a time constraint, or, like, how do you figure that out?
No, it was actually that, well, I think it was more like, in my head, there was the idea of, like, okay, if I can see the fire spreading, then that will, like, tell me about, do I have to worry about it where I live? Do I, you know? And what happened was I could see it, and it didn't really tell me what I wanted to know, or I mean, it told me, you know, okay, it's far enough away that I'm probably not going to get burned in Oakland. But the thing that then became the primary concern was the air quality, right? So it was like, if I keep going down this road, this data set isn't really going to tell me the thing that's now top of mind. So I want to be able to put it down. However, because it was all in this format, and because I had gone through this exploration, like, you know, this process, when I did make actually, let me show air quality explorations. I moved on to another notebook, which I was able to borrow code from that last one, or just, like, you know, I had recently just made a map of a bunch of points and colored them. So here I am making a map of a bunch of points and coloring them. Like,
but it seems like what you're saying, in order to make that first notebook useful, like, part of the other secret sauce that you have is that, like, you sort of iterated your way down the notebook, where, like, each step of it is kind of publishable on its, like, its own. You have a bunch of things already, right? Whereas, like, I might take the same project, and I would just be changing the same cell, and I would lose all of those different versions of the earlier thing that I could potentially use as like the document. Because if it was just one, a lot of people, I see this a lot, where it's just one visualization at the end that's like right, you know what I mean, and that you don't get all those different things you did on the way to get there.
That's a great point, because, and actually I went even further. So this notebook, kind of like, because I knew I didn't know what I was going to get. I had an idea of what I wanted to see, but I didn't know what it was going to end up as. I ended up, I got to a certain point where I was like, all right, this is kind of what I see. Let me do it for real. And then in this one, I would say this is more like I did an extra 10%, and I made, like, you know, I used Mapbox so you can zoom and pan on this, and it's, you know, everything you see is something like legible, and you can read more about the references, and then all this working stuff is below there still.
So it's almost like you had.
So I still
drafts.
don't go through
like
this.
So it's like you really had a few draft posts that like got you to the real one that got you to the 10%.
Yeah. But I'm like publishing those drafts, and in the like you said, like the intermediate cells are themselves kind of like interesting, or they could provoke ideas for other people or myself. So like, I try to have it so that I have almost breadcrumbs that I can be like sharing along the way. Out of that process.
So when you say you did the extra 10% for that notebook, what did that mean to you?
Oh, I mean, in terms of like cleaning up the presentation and making it so that when you opened it, you kind of immediately understand what you're going to get, and then you see the visualization, and hopefully you can, like, you know, interpret it, and then there's a little bit of extra information that I want to be like the takeaway. So that's what I mean. In the other notebooks, you know, you would have to just kind of be curious and scroll, right? Like they don't, maybe they have a paragraph at the top, like, you know, trying alternate ways of representing the state, right? It's like, yeah. So through all these different notebooks, and actually even, like a week ago, I looked at a new data source someone pointed out to me, this NOAA smoke data, which would be like a different, I guess, an alternative data set to be explored for smoke forecasts, right? And also making animations like hourly, because I've seen some pretty awesome animations people are making with QGIS or these other software. So that I got a little bit of another burst of energy, because it's kind of like you said, right? It's like kind of got sick of breathing the smoke and thinking about it all the time. And once I understood that I could check, you know, Purple Air and just, or like some forecast sites, I kind of got lost wind with the project. But, you know, seeing people make other things made me interested for a brief moment again. I could make this, capture it, share it. And this is a jumping off point for anybody who's interested in parsing and visualizing this particular kind of data from NOAA. It uses this netCDF format, right? So like I figured out just enough that like you can kind of see what you're gonna get, but either myself or someone else would have to take it further to get, you know, to make a more comprehensive visualization from it. So this is not yet, right? It's like, there's not the 10%.
Well, it's like, but it's like you're almost like setting things up for other people to build on, right?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I'm definitely heavily inspired by Mike Bostock in that. And I think he had a great article on making, like, learning by example, or I guess he gave a talk a long time ago. I think it's still 2013. A lot of this is still super relevant, and even more so with notebooks and stuff. But the idea that as you're figuring stuff out, if you leave this trail of examples, it not only makes it easier for yourself to build on your ideas, you also end up getting feedback and input and stuff from people that you wouldn't have even probably consciously went after. It exposes stuff that people can give you ideas or suggestions, or if I consider it really lucky or just sort of like really amazing when someone does fork and like takes it and makes something
Totally
on top of.
Well, that's the best part about doing this stream, right? Is you get a similar effect, right? Or if you like do something on the stream, it's always really cool to have people then take it and fork it or give you an idea or like recommend a library or whatever. So like anytime to get more access to that is always cool.
Well, I mean, and I'll just point out, like, as you say that, right? I think was our last stream, or a couple weeks or a few weeks ago, we did this Voronoi map exploration on top of the air quality data, and then someone in the community, Maya Gans, she took that and then made a colorful Voronoi version, because I think we had outlined, like, we didn't go that way, so she did exactly that. She she built hers based on what she saw in the stream and made something really cool, and then I was able to actually fork that back and rotate it 90 degrees like you as you insist, which stuff. I think is great. And then what's cool about this, like we talked about not on the stream, but the idea, like, because I was like, oh man, I really like this graphic. There's something visceral about it. It's also a tough time. Like, I want it on a skateboard, and you're like, why don't we print on a skateboard and sell it and donate the proceeds to like a wildfire
That's
thing.
a good idea.
So I still want to do that. I don't know how to print I haven't figured out how to print a skateboard, but my sister is actually she's used a service that you can do a t-shirt printing where they handle the donations for you. So you choose a official charity.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, and then you can do runs of different clothes. So she made a t-shirt design out of this with it says California Strong on there, and so we're gonna try to put that out soon. So I don't know, it's kind of
that's an awesome idea. So that's more than the last 10%, right? Of taking something and making something real out of it.
Yeah, but we're able to do that because we left so many little steps, right? That all of a sudden you can push something up over the edge. Yeah.
Interesting. But you're also lucky in that your output or your form of publishing is a notebook, right? So you're working in the thing that's also your output, and that's not true of most people, right? For me, I love Observable, but if I'm gonna actually make a thing or publish a thing that I'm then gonna post on Twitter under my name, I'm way more likely to make a blog post with a bunch of images or embedded stuff or whatever it is than to I guess it's more common. I've seen on Hacker News now, people do observable notebooks, but it's not. I don't know. It seems that there's an added barrier if you're not working in the tool that you also publish in.
Well, it's interesting because it's almost why I got so excited about the tool, about working in in a way I've sort of got myself to a place where I'm in that environment, in that tool, so it aligns with my sort of more natural way of working, right? Or working and publishing. So it's almost I've moved what I would normally do into a tool that is more supportive of doing that kind of stuff. Because before that, I built Block Builder to try to make it easier to make blocks. You and I built Tributary before that to try to make little code snippets that we could share and run visual things together, right? It's like, it's always been the like the mode I want to be in as well. So there's that aspect to it, right?
So that's what I mean. Part of what I wanted, like we were talking about what to do on the stream, and some part of me selfishly wants to try and figure out some way of like making it easier to have that as part of my like blog workflow. You know what I mean? Like the same way that you publish, and we're getting close to, like, Alex is really the library of, like, from the command line getting a screenshot from a cell. You know what I mean? So then if I just make sure that every time I do a new project that I name my output cell the same thing, right? Like, I'm trying to imagine some way,
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine like a pattern, some combination of patterns and templates that I can use so that, like, as I pursue different ideas, I think I should use observable more, just because what you described, it's easier to make all these offcastings of material, but also, like, if I do that, how do I get back into my world? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, totally valid. I think an interesting thing that you're sort of getting at, and that I'm finding in actually a different parallel realm with something like FFmpeg, is like getting used to, like, having a habit, and not even a habit, just like having done something enough times that it no longer feels like friction, like a big mental burden or leap to go into that. And sometimes there's, like, not, I wouldn't say tricks, but like ways that you can maybe help yourself. Like, I just the last couple of days finally put this thing together. Let me bring it into my screen once it loads here. Where I've just been like, I finally went in, because I do this, my history. If I grab FFmpeg, right, it's like, these are all the FFmpeg commands I've run over the last however long, right? And so, you know, if for those that aren't familiar with it, it's like this great command line tool for turning images into videos, or turning videos into GIFs, or, you know, turning whatever into whatever, right? It's like super powerful. But it's like, you know, try reading this, like, try remembering what the hell any of this stuff means, right? It's impossible. And so instead, I've like, okay, I shrink and change the frame rate, or I speed up and shrank the GIF, or I like converted, you know, when I do portrait mode on Pixel 3, this is how I'm going to turn like 100 pictures into a movie, or whatever, right? It's like, okay, so now I feel like if I have an idea that involves, let's say, you know, cropping and speeding up a small screencast, like a small video, I know that I have the FFmpeg command somewhere handy. So it's not going to be like, oh, I have to figure out how to do that if I want to do this idea. It's more like, oh, I can just go ahead and like screen record this, and I know I'll be able to deal with it when the time comes.
Right.
And I feel that there's like that's like a generalizable concept of like, okay, I know I'm gonna have to like process some data before I visualize it. Let me process it in observable, like a small sample of it or a slice or something. And then when I have my prototype visualization, then go, okay, like, all right, that's how I'm going to process it. Then maybe I'll go into my node script. And this is something I actually did, right? Like, write some node scripts where I do like heavy computation. I wait a while for big files to download, all that good stuff. And then when I sit down with my data, I already have like a starting point, because like I made the data exactly how I want it to be visualized, right, in my notebook. So all of that comes together to kind of make it so if I have an idea for like, oh, I want to visualize that, but I'm going to need to process it, I know that there's like steps I can take that are going to be supportive, rather than kind of feeling, which is a feeling I used to get all the time, like, oh God, I'm going to have to do this, and I have to figure out that, and then I have to make sure I do this, right? And then like, and all those things are not things you can share, or like commiserate with someone about, because they're all in your local folder, and you'd have to like consciously say like, oh yeah, let me take a screenshot and like post that, and I can't reference
That's like
anything.
where I'm
Whereas in a
at
notebook,
now. Well, you're also, and then there's the habit you have of like taking screenshots all the time helps too, right? Because then you have that. Because then you like, I'll have the same problem. Like, I'll make a thing, but then to show it to somebody, I have to like open it up again and start it up and like do the. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier if all that material is just there.
it is true, and that's something I've definitely picked up over time. Is I just uh, take screenshots all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, I mean, there that's helpful too. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's like a combination of habits and tricks you can use to set yourself up, and like the tools you use, and then also, yeah, like just being conscious that you want more out of your workflow is,
Well,
I
and
think,
I think it's also like the what you just
a
showed
big
me.
deal
Like
too.
you were inspired to do it because it's like it's obviously it's like a pressing thing that like when you wake up in the morning you think about like why is the sky orange and like am I going to be able to breathe? But for other different types of like do you set yourself up in a way where like how do you know what to work on when you wake up each morning? You know what I mean? Or how do you choose what to work on?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, and that's something that's like a long. I mean, it's interesting because I feel right now, especially, I have to be extra conscious of that. Like, I think a lot about what am I gonna, so many smaller things I could be doing, and if I'm not, thinking a little bit about it, it could it could feel like, well, I don't know which to do, so I'm not gonna do any of it, right? Like, so I think it comes down to, I mean, I've noticed a couple of things, right? Like sometimes I can just have like I see something and be like, and just be in the mood to do that, right? So maybe it'll be like, oh, I noticed somebody talked about maps, and I really want to, and I saw this other data set, or I heard about this data set, like I really want to just see that. And those like feelings, I think, are pretty fleeting, right? Like they don't, you get this sense, because especially once you've been, whatever, medium you make in, right, whether it's like drawing or data viz or programming photography, right, like after a while you kind of can imagine what you would do if you get an idea, right? You can, in your head you can kind of see like, oh, like I bet that would look cool if I did this, right? Like, and that's what happens. Like, oh, okay, we see all these dots, I bet this would look cool if I put a Voronoi on it, right? And before we did it, it's just like I haven't seen this map with a Voronoi on it, but I've seen other, and I kind of knew, all right, I bet this would look cool if I did Voronoi on it, and I think I know what the steps are, right? Like it's been a while since I've done a Voronoi, whatever, but in my mind it feels like a thing that I could do, and it feels like a thing I could do in a relatively short amount of time before that like small burst of motivation runs out, because that's important too, right?
The
Because
like
if it's
topic
not
based
like,
motivation, the like data set motivation.
yeah, yeah, or it can also sometimes, the same thing to me applies, right? I mean, it has for a while, like to technique. If I see someone, it's like, oh, that's a cool thing, like I want to do that spin on some data set, right, that I'm familiar with, or I always come back to, whatever it is. Either way, like if I don't get to sort of scratch the itch quickly, or know that I have, maybe I say, okay, I have like the next hour, I can like sit down and just play with this. If I feel like that's going to take longer than an hour, it's not going to be worth it, right? It's like, I'm not going to do that. So that's why I think it's so important to have these pieces, these stepping stones are you've left for yourself,
But that's why it's so
because
funny because you have like those 8 notebooks and like each collectively, like you just said, like I won't do it if it's longer than an hour. But each of those 8 collectively are like more than a work day. You know what I mean? Like that's like a bunch of work across those hours because you sort of set things up in advance or like I don't know like what
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some of these definitely, I would spend like 2 or 3 hours, and that's the thing, right? Like you said, like the sky was freaking orange, right? So I'm not like I was pretty focused. But like this smoke data, this latest one I did that one in less than an hour, and then once and I sort of spent that energy that I had at that moment to like get the data parsed and I could see it. Now, if I get the inspiration again to take it to spend another hour on it, like I can take it somewhere else. But I'm starting from like the data's clean. I know exactly how to like use the data and manipulate it, and I already have like a starting point visualization, so I can like the next time I sit down for an hour, it's like I've already been sitting down for an hour, right? Does that make sense?
Totally. Well, and then do you wait for like moments? Yeah, you wait for moments when you're inspired to sit down for that hour, though, right?
Yeah, and that's where I think everybody's time management and personal uh, workflows can differ, but like I feel that I probably several times a week I have uh, time set aside, or I feel like making something visual, like I really like want to do that, and what that is can vary by what's come across, and what I'm trying now actually is to do a much better job sort of indexing ideas and like things I see go by. And I mean, I guess this is like this is fine. I'm just gonna put this here and we'll just look at it real quick, because this is like today did a bunch of stuff around like a tutorial I'm trying to build. I'm about to, like, I actually just shared in my newsletter stuff about that, but like I'm just like taking notes on. I want to show. There's one from yesterday. Like this is something that I don't know if we'll like. We're gonna see how this stream goes if we stream tomorrow or not. But like I really want to do some ASCII art, and this is something I did a long time ago in blocks, where you could like dynamically change what each ASCII art color, like pixel,
Cool.
maps
And
to.
that's your brother. People
And this is my
should tell
brother.
people that's your brother, because otherwise you're just like, why do you have this gentleman that looks exactly like you?
Yeah, that's my little brother, man. He's cool. And his name's Nate. And I turned his face into like a Chinese number ASCII art, and 'cause he actually speaks really good Chinese, and this was
That's oh
years
wait,
ago.
sorry, your screen is small. So those are all little tiny Chinese, what do you letter forms?
Yeah, characters. Yeah,
Characters.
yeah. So like these are three, and then
Oh,
these two
sick.
lines are two, and this is weird one's a four, one's five,
That's wild.
and yeah. So like, but the other day I just sort of had this, or no, you know what? I saw a notebook, this one, and I realized that if I use this someone made a couple of years ago. I'm gonna scroll through quickly, but you'll see at the end that like they could basically simplify the image with like the dominant colors, and that sort of sparked an idea of like, oh, like the way I think about the ASCII art stuff is you sort of just like turn the image into just a few colors.
Mm.
So this is gonna automatically do that, and then I want to use like emoji and use their colors to like fill the appropriate, like if you have a color picture, fill it with like emoji that look like that, whatever. I don't know what. So like to me in my head right now, that sounds like a good idea. I have a starting point from someone else's notebook where like their algorithm is like clearly explained, and I can just take it and make a new notebook. I've already done it before, and there's code here that I could like refer back to if I need to refresh myself. And so I feel like if I spend an hour, there's probably something in here feels like it's going to be an interesting thing. And the other nice thing about it is it's just like for fun. Like it's not, we're gonna get into elections. The election's a serious thing, and there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of stuff around it.
It's a lot of
So I
serious
know
data
that
visualization going on.
there's gonna be a lot of maps, right?
Yep.
And so I feel like also sometimes I have that where it's like, okay, I really want to like have an outlet to like not, to play and do something fun. And so yeah, so that's been a long answer to say, like, basically I've started trying to write down these things so that when I do get that, maybe it's going to be tomorrow, sometimes late afternoon, my second coffee, I'm feeling like, all right, I'm like, I want to, code something right now.
Right.
I have everything I need to sit down and do that. And then I'm going to try to make it so at the end of that time that when I run out of steam, I'm going to be able to share it with folks, right? And in that way, in that notebook format, right?
Totally. Well, that's another thing that I think part of it just comes with maturity, but like recognizing when you're running out of steam, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of an awareness thing where I can start to tell that certain things I can normally code quickly and easily are getting slower. I sort of, when I think of like the next thing I have to do, I start feeling like a dread feeling or like just kind of like a exhaustion or it really, it feels a lot like physical exhaustion to me, to where, like you've been running and then you're like, well, I just really want to stop running right now.
Right.
And maybe, there's you can get a boost of adrenaline and push yourself further.
But you still push yourself through a little bit in terms of like, all right, now I need to get this to a publishable state and then I can stop.
Yeah, and well, except for what I've done, a lot of the thing is that I'm making sure that I'm sort of in my mind when I set up where I'm going to run to, that it's not past, like the distance isn't further than that amount of energy that I think I have, right? So I'm like actually moving the goalpost is like a big part of that.
So it's like how I'm trying to think of the right words to say. It's like setting your goals honestly, or you know what I mean? It's like a combination of like knowing when to quit and also like being responsible enough to be like, no, I can reach that point.
And I mean, responsible is, feels like a heavy framing to me because it's also a little bit like, well, it's not so much responsible, but just kind of like, familiar with how much, kind of have a sense of how much energy, because like once you've like ran a mile a few times, you kind of get a sense for like, oh yeah, it's like, I'm gonna be about this tired after I run a mile. So if I want to run 3 miles, or, if I try to run 3 miles, that's gonna be like, I'm gonna need to like lie down for a while or something like that.
Right,
or
right.
If I didn't eat breakfast, then I'm not gonna be able to run that same speed, or right. It's like, or if I had like 3 meetings back to back before this, would be like a similar thing, right? It's like maybe my mental energy is already spent on other stuff, or like, I had to solve a deep technical problem for some, like a work thing, or there's all kinds of ways in which I feel like, yeah, you can have a little bit energy, or you could be well rested and have a lot. But yeah, it's about, to me, it has definitely become a lot about that, like self-awareness.
So somebody in the chat, I'm going to mispronounce their name, but I'm going to try to say it anyway. Mega Fajez says, what's the note-taking app that you're using? And they say it looks similar to Workflowy, but better.
Oh yeah, this is, I think they're talking about this, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, because you're using like a terminal or something.
I'm just using TextEdit.
TextEdit, all right. So the answer
that was my first thought too. I was like, there's no way.
Because like you're actually taking notes, which is cool,
Yeah, but that's pretty straightforward. I don't think there's any questions about what I'm doing.
Definitely. All right, so this is called Roam Research. I guess I can just put this. Yeah, it's interesting. It whenever you like if you hashtag something, you click on this, all the references across your different stuff show up on this. So like on, today I have stuff about this, my ideas around this tutorial, and also on September 26th. So for me, there's like two things that I like about it is that, you just automatically get a new, like if I go back, you'll see that like, I didn't take notes on this day or whatever. But any day that I do take notes, like they're all indexed. It makes it easy that it kind of goes along with a lot of the stuff I've been talking before is like I can start writing and like put stuff down and then decide like, oh yeah, this is related to something. And then what's nice about this is it like automatically links to that, whatever, if you use the right syntax to link it. And so I've heard people talk about it as indexing. So like you could do similar stuff with more manually, right? Just like making lists of stuff. Because all it really is taking, making a list.
lists of lists of lists. Try to keep on these.
Yeah, so this is a tool that's.
This is my room research.
Nice. And I think that other people really like Notion HQ. I think.
Yeah, Shirley was sending around some Notion links. I think she's a fan of that.
Yeah, so like I think whatever the tool that you prefer, I have found that the more I, and I hate to use the word discipline as we've discussed before, because we both.
Yeah, I wouldn't describe myself as disciplined, but
yeah, it's funny because I really don't describe myself as disciplined, but I've been told that I'm like, I can be very methodical. And what I think it comes down to is that like if I've set myself up with an environment or certain things that I like believe, like if I do it, it will make me, then I don't have to be disciplined. I don't have to force myself to do something I don't want to do because I'm kind of naturally doing the stuff that I like quote unquote should be doing.
Right.
If that makes sense.
You're like tricking your brain. This is something I've done recently where like I recently scheduled like all the things that I want to do every day. Like not like chores necessarily, but like, all right, like I want to read a book. You know what I mean? Like, so I set aside reading time. Like I want to make a beat, but it's like reverse scheduling where I used to like schedule all my workday stuff. But right now, like the only thing that isn't in that calendar is like my workday stuff. So now, like, sometimes I'll catch myself procrastinating from doing something I want to do by working, just because I've tricked my brain into like doing, like thinking about it backwards. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, that's great.
But it sounds like you figured out a good way to trick your brain, or not trick your brain, but like get your brain. You figured out how to cultivate a place where you are capable of doing. Finishing the things that you're working on.
Yeah, I think it, and yeah, it's been cultivation is a great word because it, over time it changes a bit. And as I think, I've been getting into more and more video editing, and that's like new tools and new like ways of thinking about what you're trying to do, and it's unfamiliar and like the outputs are different. So I'm gonna have to like cultivate, like how do I fit in editing videos to my day, right? In terms of like, yeah, maybe I schedule it, maybe it's a kind of like I found that if I can do it on my tablet, like I can sit on the couch and do it, and it's like a different feel than like sitting at my workstation and but like that's gonna have to be incorporated and as if it's something that I want to keep doing or do more of. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so I guess we've been talking about ways like it's nice that you have your tool is also your publishing tool with Observable. But if I want to, I mean, like, I think that one of the notebooks we made is like this voter survey stuff, and you actually made a lot of the maps in it, but the idea of like where are votes most at risk is like we did it, it's in the Coding with Fire organization, I think. Oh yeah, because we recently edited
I'm gonna put.
So this is really
So
interesting
I'm
to me
gonna
because
put this
this is like a piece that like I've been talking to like major national news organizations about like this specific type of story or like pitching this type of story. And so like this is not, we made a really cool thing with this, but for me the last 10% of finishing this is then taking it and turning it into like a pitch with 300 words or 150 words and a couple of screenshots of each thing. And for me, like I know it's not that much work to like go in and export each of them individually, but like, and maybe that comes from the habit of just doing it over and over, but like I'm trying to envision like what, if you can help me envision what a more like greased workflow of like, okay, if I make this notebook in a stream, how do I then like super easily turn it into a blog post or something that I can, you know, email an editor and do a pitch with? Because like that's part of the other thing is like these don't have titles in them necessarily, so like there's like some stuff that when you take them out of this environment, you have to do a little bit more work to actually make it usable, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I feel like there's a couple of things there, right? Like we could talk about getting stuff out can mean like static images. It can mean the some of these we make an SVG. You can get the SVGs out. It could mean embedding, like if you make an interactive thing, embedding it. Something that we've done more and more is like making a time lapse of like, if it's an animation, then we're seeing something develop over time. It's really natural to want a video, like a short video of that. Give people, right, like that all is, I mean, it's attention grabbing, but it also gives you a sense of what happens over time. So I feel like, and then doing those different ways of getting things out lets you then be in different tools where, like you said, like the titles and legends and stuff, like you can generate that stuff with D3 or however, but like
something
often
like 10 or 15 minutes for you, I mean, or maybe it's not that long, but
yeah, you take like 10 seconds in Illustrator or Figma or whatever your tool of choice, and like boom, you have like title exactly like pixel perfect however you want it. And if especially if that's what you're a natural tool for you, or I mean, I've even been finding that those aren't like where I spend much more time with D3 than those tools. But like just earlier today, I made a like an image, and I wanted text, and like doing it in Photoshop was way easier than if I had coded it, obviously, right? So it's like there are just things that is like the natural place to do those things. So yeah, I mean, like the first thing I would say is that you can just download the cell, and I mean, what's nice when you do that is that download.
Yeah, so I'm gonna download the first one, like the low number of polling places. I'll do it as, if I do as SVG, that means I can open an Illustrator. So let me see if I can find that. It has a weird name. I guess it's LPP, means low polling places. So I'll open that in Illustrator.
Yeah, just automatic, whatever you name the variable of your.
Because that's the other thing is like knowing that you're then gonna export it. You might then like make the variable names of your canvases like super informative if that's what's gonna be filling your desktop, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. And as well as like actually it's interesting because you can embed visualizations, right? Like so you can iframe them essentially. So if it's interactive, right? Like let's say you wanted to get an iframe and put it in your blog, then you would do it by choosing the cell. All right, I don't know why this like.
So let me take a stab at it. So like my normal process for writing a blog post, and I can go into the like I would very much love to go into the dorkery of how it all works. But basically, I just make a new Markdown document, and then I have like a keyboard snippet that like auto completes into YAML of like the top matter for a blog post, where I just like type in the title and stuff. So if I were doing a title of like where where are votes most at risk, right? And then I'm gonna like, I wish I had warm Ipsum, but I'm gonna like do a little, stuff about what specifically I'm talking about in the notebook. I would write up a sentence, but then I'd want to include that like first graphic. So you're saying that like one of the better ways would be just to like download the SVG version, throw it in Illustrator, and just throw a title on the top and like export that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty easy. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's pretty
Places.
straightforward. It looks like you can...
Yeah, like it didn't take me very long. Like that's the thing is like it's scary in your mind when you're like, oh, you got to download it, but like once you like actually like do it, it's not. Doesn't seem like that big a deal to me. I don't know what font to use for my website
though. And the other, when you download something as PNG, what's nice about that is it also has a transparent background, because like shots.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. You said transparent background.
Yeah, my stupid little AC that I can't turn off is going off. I was saying, like, when you download the PNG, the background is transparent, which when you take a screenshot, you don't get. Obviously, like when you download the SVG, also you're not getting any background color. Like it's just the elements that you we rendered.
Yeah,
with
so
SVG.
I could make the background like if I put another layer underneath this, right? I don't know how to send it to the back, but if I go into the layers and I make it the background, I could then make that like whatever color I wanted. And that makes sense. If it were a screenshot, then you wouldn't have as much control. But you can also you could do like the whole power of SVG and Illustrator is you can go in, and if you cared, like my home county is this county, Orange County, so you could go in and give it a a little black outline, right? Or a yellow outline would be even better. Something like that. Make it stroke of 4. That's fun. So yeah, having the SVG output is cool. But the one thing I'm missing though is the legend. Do we even have a legend in this original document? Oh yeah, it's right below. It's saying another. Do I download this one as an SVG?
Yeah.
It has
I think you could either download SVG or PNG, and if you didn't render with SVG, then it won't give you the option to download the SVG. It'll just give you the option for
Here we
PNG.
go. Yeah.
But yeah,
so
that's another thing.
This in.
You could actually use it. Yeah.
Just throw it at the bottom.
Right, you could do that in Observable and try to have SVG translate the groove out, which is what I always right. But who wants to do
any of that?
Right? Yeah. Because that's my default, but it always takes me way more time to do that than the actual visualization, which is the
Why does the scale go from
thing,
0?
Right? So
I guess it's reducing. It goes from 0.01 to 0. That's a weird scale.
I guess we had percentages or something. Let's see. So I see a chat question from Mega FJs. So is it a bad idea to use observable embedding for visualizations published in a local newspaper? Are there limitations or anything like that? So I would say it's a good idea. There are not limitations, and I don't, I think it'd be perfectly reasonable. And it's definitely, that would be that would be the easiest way, especially if you have an interactive, right? Downloading the SVG. I think this route is super practical and good for a lot of things. But if you want it clickable, then your other option would then be porting.
Okay, so that's so if I want to go that way, right? So I make Markdown. I can just write HTML in it if I want. So if I wanted to then legit embed this cell, what would be the right way to do that? Because it has is it the thing that says embed code?
Yeah, so there is, wait, you say, yeah.
Do the embed code. Yeah, you get a div and a script. Should I just copy that? All right.
Yeah, try that.
Okay, so
I think this is a new
I'll put that in my markdown.
thing that it
So this-
that it gives you the embed code. Because yeah, so Mega here pointed out the handy embed code generator, which is another way to choose a cell from the notebook. But I think recently they added it to the product to actually just.
Oh yeah, we've used this before to do our weird little countdown thing and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, the embed code generator, yeah.
Okay, so I want to embed it into my blog post. So I just added the div, like I just added normal markdown in the div. And then I want to start my blog up and see if it shows up on my localhost.
Nice. So we're live coding your blog right
Sort
now.
of. Yeah, well, yes.
With visualization. So, but you can, so you can add you could export your graphic from your Illustrator as well, right?
Yes. But I have to, hold on, I have to rename it and put it in my published folder because that's how I publish things. So we'll call this observable test. Observable test. Oh, it's already in the published folder. That's nice. Save, and then I run import. Then I run serve. And it was giving me trouble earlier today, so let's just hope that it doesn't break again. But basically, I should get a blog post that has the title, where votes most at risk, and then a little observable embed. And we'll see if that works or not.
Nice.
If it doesn't, I don't hold it against you. Oh yeah, there we go. There, where most, yeah, it doesn't seem to work. I wonder what's happening. Maybe it's because I'm localhost, not a real website.
Does your console show? Does your console show
only
error or
for the
something?
thing I did.
Yeah, I mean we could try the embed code generator as Mega mentioned.
Right,
They
try.
you can embed multiple cells as well.
All right, just want to address it. That's unclear to me what that's. So it's, do I do view of LPP or LPP? Oh, Megafest said, I can't believe Rome research is pay only. I'm so spoiled by the free web. Which also, Rome hasn't let me in also, and I don't know, we've talked about it. Their owner, or the CEO, like tweeted some weird stuff about Taylor Lorenz, the New York Times reporter. So I feel kind of, don't really care about Rome research. All the free buzz marketing. All right, you do view of. Yeah. That's what the chat told me, and then you copy embed.
Yeah, let's try that.
And then I'll try and paste it into my markdown, and we'll see if that works. Save, and then, oops. And then we're gonna run the Dropbox import thing again, which pulls in my latest markdown, turns it into JSON. And now, hopefully, maybe we'll see a map when we load this blog post. We'll see what happens. Okay, localhost 3000, localhost 3000. Yeah, cool. And then blog. No, that doesn't work either. This might be a me problem, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that we tried it out.
Like, yeah, like maybe somehow the script or the div or something
exactly.
is not
Let me
being,
see if like there is any div. Yeah, because I have like a whole build thing going on to like make my blog exist. It's like a view next situation.
Nice. Yeah, it would be not, you know.
Yeah,
cool
so it has it.
Worked in view.
It has, yeah. It's and can you tell us how to pronounce your name? Can we get a phonetic? I'm gonna go with Megafjez, Megafez, I think is like rolls off the tongue, but I don't think is correct. Mega. They say it works
Well,
on
and
a
it's
few,
where
so I believe them.
I can't read your console,
It
unfortunately.
doesn't.
But
I'm just looking at the elements to see whether they're there, and it looks like it's the same. Like I have the div with the right ID on it, and then inside I have another div with the right class on it, and then below it I have a script type of module, which seems like it has the right script in
do
it.
you think is the divs that those two divs, are they like do they have a size? Because that's what it feels like. It's just like invisible, but maybe it's there, but styles are conflicting or something.
That seems likely. So you want me to see if the iframe is actually there, or like
when you click on the divs, doesn't Chrome tell you like the
I'm
property?
in Safari. That's like half my
how
problem right
with
now. So I'll open it in Brave, and maybe we'll enjoy this experience more.
No. I think there's like a new version of Safari, and
I'm using
restricted iframe.
Well, just the fact that its console is much more annoying and useless. But yeah, nothing in Safari either. Should I just how do I see if like the script is being pulled in and working right? Would I have a thing called runtime maybe? No.
I'm not sure about that. But yeah, like it doesn't look like there's a height or anything for your.
Yeah, it doesn't. It does not.
Frame.
For my div, no. It has a width and no height, a height of 0 pixels.
Does the styling is anything? Yeah, because I wonder if that is something that's going to be set by the runtime running. Because it does seem a little bit like, you know what you could do in your blog, like in the embed code that you pasted in, right? You could you can add a console log to the script, right? And then like see if it
so we'll just
if
say
it's
console,
running the code.
Yeah, we'll just say console.log is this running. Does that sound right to you? And then re-import, and then I'll rerun my server. Starting from the top.
So like that, you got it right, Megaphius.
And then we're looking for a console log. I got a whole bunch of is this running.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So it is running.
It has hide timestamp. It's upset because of hide timestamp for some reason. I can go into code and look into.
Yeah, I wonder if you can get rid of that error. That error may be.
What's it from? Blog. It's from Slug. Hide timestamp. Yeah, no error. We do see a bunch of is this running, and then nothing. So at the very least, it's like being loaded, or yeah, it does new runtime.module. If name is it because I did the view of? Maybe I shouldn't have done the view of. But I should do the view of. It looks good in the preview.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it worked for Megatheus. So yeah, my guess is got to be something with the blog platform is either
I made the
stopping
blog
the
platform. Don't tell me the problem's with me. It can be fixed.
Oh no. All right, then let's
Somewhere.
yeah.
I'm
Because
just gonna paste it in again.
so, the thing I'm most suspicious of is a div not having any height,
Well, do you want me to
right?
give it a
Like,
height?
yeah, like maybe manually give it a
I think
height and
Tachyons has a height thing because I have
see if
that's what I use in my site. I think there's a height one.
but even if you in your
Just give it
inspector
a
if
height.
you like
I see what you're saying.
force it to have a height, right? It's like because part of the question is it like an empty box or is the visualization there is just hidden behind a
Let's see.
heightless div?
Let's see. So I'll give them both heights. So I'll say your height is 50 vertical height. And then the one inside it, I'll say your height is 50 vertical height.
Oh, you know what? We should be able,
Yes.
that div inside it, does it have anything
No,
in
not a
it?
thing.
Yeah, there should be an iframe in it. Like that's what I could.
Yeah, no,
I
there's
could
a
have
whole bunch of nada.
like if we. Yeah, so that tells me that somehow the script tag is not actually like catching hold of the
What's
div
up, Hell on
somehow.
Earth is? Cooking's going pretty good. At the moment, we're struggling with we're struggling with a thing, but when it's done, boy, is it gonna taste good.
Yeah. Um, this feels like, oh, we've added too much salt to it.
Yeah.
How do you?
No, that's not. It's not that bad.
Right? No. Okay. Added too much pepper. No, I'm just kidding.
It is no. It's like it's too acidic, and we're trying to make it a little less acidic. There's some simple answer somewhere, I think.
All right. So what I want to do is get a copy this.
Hey, can you fix the
Wait, my
title
preview.
for our channel so it represents what we're doing tonight? Is it not?
I thought I
It
did.
doesn't show for me. I'll refresh.
How to finish.
Okay, it's right. Way to go. You're killing it.
What? All right, I copied that. So I'm going to also make my desktop. I'll make a little HTML file with the only thing being the embed inside it.
Okay, but what does that prove?
And then
that embeds work.
Well, what I'm curious about is what should be inside.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna make a control embed that represents what a working one does, and we can compare and contrast between a working and a non-working one. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
I'm gonna eat snacks. Why do you do that?
I'm gonna rename. This will be iframe, and then I'll do the embed code generator.
Great question in the chat that I'll ask as soon as I'm done chewing. Our new friend Megatheus says, Viz question. Do you use D3 galleries or a catalog of different visual approaches in brainstorming how to tackle a given data set, or just memory? And I think it's a great time to plug the patented Ian Johnson method of searching observable for whatever you're about to work on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think that search is the... pull that up. Oh, and now my computer is Oh no, I just somehow had a file dialog open. That was weird. So yeah, I mean, if it's like maybe from memory, I'll know like that like a flow diagram or a Sankey diagram is like in the realm of what I want to see, right? Or it's like if I search for area chart, like maybe I'll get a bunch of examples, and one will be like stacked area chart, right? It's like, yeah, I think searching for either, or I guess you could search for the data set, but often it's some aspect of it, timeline or something like that. But I think that's still more in the like technical or tactical realm. I mean, there's still there's design there, right, to get inspiration, but like a lot of times the way I want to try to see the data set does kind of come from just seeing so many things go by. Like I guess
I agree with
memory
that.
is
For the
part
high
of the
level stuff, I
answer,
think a lot of it is just like
especially yeah.
reading, like consuming a lot of data viz. Because a lot of what I'll think of is like, oh, did you see that way that the New York Times handled that, or did you see that the way the pudding handled that, or I mean, like, did you see the thing on Twitter where they did that unique visualization? Because then you sort of like maintain that literacy of like what's
Yeah.
being done recently and sort of like how other people. Yeah, I mean, somebody might do a visualization that's perfect for a data set that is totally different from yours, but the concept of it, it's a bunch of things that are related. So like their graph network, you can make your graph network, but even if it's a totally different thing.
Shit, what is? I haven't like I use observable so much I don't even know
You
how to
like
start a
can't
local server
even make
anymore.
local HTML anymore. We discover just atrophied old muscles.
Well, sorry, I got distracted trying to start my local server, but I think another thing,
Oh,
yeah, I mean
by
that
the
goes back
way,
to
I just wanted to
Mike's
mention, since
for
we're talking
example
about this and I've
post
been thinking
as
about it
well.
lately, I also searched for Python simple server today, but I know in my heart that there's the way the cool kids do it now is there's an npm module that does it, and you can do npx, and I think it might even be like npx serve, and then you can just do that in whatever directory you're in, and it like, npx automatically like pulls in the code you need for a module without installing it. So I'm just putting that out there since someone might find that useful.
You know what? I don't think your thing is
Your thing's broken.
broken. Well,
Oh, fuck.
no.
My thing's broken.
It took a long time to load though. I think that this visualization, it loads a really large data set. And so it may be like if I get the embed code for this one, PO,
Unless
or I can hit well, that one took a while to preview as well, right? It's like I think we're kind of pushing it with some of the stuff we've done here. But let me replace this.
everything I do pushes it. That's why they call me EJ Pushes It Fox.
I guess it's good. It's good to do that. This one was a little bit
Hey,
quicker.
so a judge just granted
Why is
an injunction on a ban for TikTok, so they're allowed to have TikTok. Thanks, Judge. I think
nice.
I should report the news.
Well, yeah, I mean, we got to start our coding with Fire TikTok before.
So basically, did you
long.
understand what they were going to do? So basically, they were going to do like what China did, where anyone who still had it was allowed to have it. They were going to make it not legal to sell on any of the app stores. And then in a month, they were going to make it illegal to run TikTok traffic on any ISP server. Like, you could be held liable for it. Like Great Wall shit.
Wow.
But anyway, some judge said no to that.
So
we're good for now.
nice.
We'll continue as we were.
So, all right, in my plain HTML, there's an SVG inside my div, right? And that's what the embed code did. So I think that, so the thing that I'm surprised about is that the iframe version didn't show anything either, right? Can you try commenting out the other one and
How
put
do
the
you get the
iframe
iframe
version? Because that one, that was like from
That's
the
the
cell
one I
menu
did first.
when you chose like give me the embed code, right? But I suspect that
So
that
embed
one
code, copy. It's not an
might
iframe
actually
either.
have
It's just a
worked.
div.
We just
That's
didn't
what I'm
wait
saying.
for it to load.
Yeah, it's just it
What?
just gives me a div and a script, no iframe.
No. Hold up. Oh, wait. It gives you a div and a script. So when I did it, I get this thing. Oh, it must be because I'm getting like a
Oh, you're
early
getting some fancy
preview
shit.
of the feature.
So your fancy shit works great. My
hopefully
early
I'm
shit
not.
doesn't work. So anyway, this has been enough time on this. It's been great. So theoretically,
How about this? How about last thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna paste you the iframe code
sick.
real quick,
That'd
so that you can try
I'm
it
into that.
in your blog, because I strongly suspect that the iframe thing is like the
All right, love
the
it.
way it's supposed to
So
be.
I'm gonna take out the div, take out the script, paste an iframe. Gonna go back to my terminal.
I guess for the folks watching,
Yeah.
they're getting early access preview. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for no. I think everyone, people are pretty excited about.
Yeah, all 6 of you better keep that shit
feature
under
out.
wraps. You heard? Let's see.
Nice, I appreciate that, Megafetus. Yeah. So let's see if that.
All right. So I ran the import. Let me run serve again. Crossing my fingers. Hey, I see a box at least. Oh, you said it took a second to load though, right?
Yeah, I feel.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you know why it takes long to load, Ian? Do you want to know why? Because it's console logging every goddamn thing as it loads.
Yay!
You did it! Hooray! We put a map in a blog post.
All right,
see, I don't like all this stuff around it. This is all to figure. So like maybe there's a world where I make some custom styles for an iframe embed.
Yes. I mean, you can always take the frame border off and like style things. And I think that the div script thing, after marinating on it a little bit, it might be the way, like if you're using Vue to put that HTML into the DOM, that somehow the script tag is either being not recognized by the browser, or it's trying to search the page for that element and it doesn't exist yet, so then it's like,
that makes sense. Yeah, well, it's something to do with the way the processing, because I think I can do, like, if I did a script with an alert right in my markdown, I think it would run.
Right, I mean, because you did the console log and it ran.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
The browser is doing it, so that's not, so there's something about probably like the way that it's trying to find that that div element to put the graphic in it. So but I mean, the high level answer for
See, the problem is that like what this type of embed, even though like because of the outline and all, and like the fact it makes the page scroll, is like this isn't. It's not good enough to like publish for me.
Well, I mean, you can change the size, so it shouldn't scroll.
Well, it's because
you can change both the width and height.
Oh, like in
Like
the
the embed
iframe
code
you're
I sent you
saying?
has width and height set to like weird
Oh,
things.
does it? Oh, I see. With
It's like it's
100%.
100% and like 600 pixels, right? Like I think if you just set,
Let's do like
and
80%.
I believe our map visualization, the size of it is based on the width of the cell.
That sounds right. And why does it have a border?
Yeah,
SVG.
iframes, I think you have to set a property frame border equals 0. I used to do a lot more with iframes.
Oh, it's because
Actually,
it's. I thought it was the box shadow border. It already has a border none. So
we should
WTF.
zoom into your screen.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not border. It's frame border. It's like a weird, specific iframe or none. I don't know.
Frame border equals 0.
I think so. Oh, it already has that in the embed code that I sent you, right?
I don't know. Frame border equals 0. No. I don't want to get. So I think now that we've tried
All right.
both methods, that I'm personally a much bigger fan of the Illustrator method. That was like it was like we did it like that, and it felt very pleasurable for me personally.
Yeah. Well, and that's right. Like, I think that's totally like when we talk about our process and the things the way you want to set yourself up to, right, to like make more stuff or to push yourself further. Now, I believe, like, I feel like knowing, like, having done the Illustrator thing, that being so easy and like within your way of doing things,
Totally.
that next time you go to make like you make a visualization and you make a blog post, you're gonna probably be more likely to say, oh, I can just like, yeah, let me bring this in Illustrator and make it look the way I want to look, and add that 10% to it in a way that's like zero friction for me.
Right, right. Yeah, because that's
Uh,
already part of my workflow.
right, exactly, right. And whereas the iframe thing, right, like also for you in particular, like you've already coded the thing, you're probably more likely to port the visualization. If you want an embedded visualization in your custom platform, right, like you may
Right.
want to port
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. I would just put
It
it
may
in
be
the code. Like I would just make a new page in my site. You know what I mean? Of like, you can do pages. I would just do like slash that visualization rather than as part of my blog.
right. So, I think that the for a lot of folks, getting getting the iframe part, or just doing, if it's like this part works more straightforwardly, um, it can be a good way to just quickly be able to make stuff inobservable and fork and templatize. I think, as Megafia has pointed out, like the newspaper situation where you may want to have like build your newspapers like county and state maps and make it look a certain way and
Right.
then swap out the data, right? Like that could work fine. Yeah. Also, I see in the chat Shirley Wu getting a shout out, and
Shout
definitely
outs.
should, yeah, should watch her stream for sure. Um, I feel at the very beginning when you told me, you were saying like, oh, like you're pretty good at the outputs, or like we were talking about that. I was like, well, but then you look at someone like Nadi or Shirley,
Yeah, they're really
um,
Shirley's really good at the outputs.
right? Like, I think we got talking about outputs a lot from um, Nadi's latest design blog post, this data art, right? Like this is how you really this is like next level of all the things we were talking about. And so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that
put this
post
in
is
the
incredible. Yeah,
chat.
put that in the chat for sure. Yeah, This is such a
To
sick.
me, this is like 500% more than I can do. Right? It's like um, the I mean, these little annotations, everything is it's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
maybe
so
that's the
music
next step
visualization.
is to like ask Nadia like what her like because I'm curious like a few questions I have about this like how much time did it take to put this post together? Like obviously it's like weeks of work to do each task that she's writing about, you know what I mean? But like I'm curious what systems she has in place to do like you know what I mean like are these did she go back and make these screenshots? Are these things that she's just pulling back out and annotating again later? Like it's just such a cool post as well.
Yeah, yeah. And as you've been talking about it, I'm also pulling up data sketches, which was Nadia and Shirley, and like they did this project where they thoroughly and detail like took notes and pictures and wrote up their whole process behind their visualizations, and it's super inspiring. I'll just put this one in here too. So yeah, we need to definitely. I mean, Shirley streams pretty regularly now, so you can kind of see it in action. It'd be super cool to talk to Nadia about her process one of these days.
Yeah, have they? I feel like I've seen them stream together at some point, but maybe not recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and I
Well,
totally
back when
forgot.
people
We're
were
so we
traveling.
just hit 8:30, so that's an hour and a half. That's about halfway through. I don't know. Do you want to take a 10-minute break, or do you want to keep going through on our streaming journey?
I think that like maybe even like yeah, 5-10 minute break would be good because we can sort of come back and think about what yeah, like we talked about a lot of cool stuff. I think it'd be nice to write a notebook for the next hour,
Totally.
see
Yeah, let's write some
if there's
code.
something,
I'd also say
or
like
yeah, we should.
anybody that has questions, like put them in the chat, and when we come back, I'd love to like answer a bunch more questions if anybody has them about process stuff or things of this nature.
Oh, nice. So it's super late for Megafius,
Oh,
but thanks for
well,
thanks for
yes.
hanging
Thanks for
out
hanging
with
out.
us.
Have a great night.
Yeah, yeah. I think you should also think about EJ is let's try to make something that we're gonna bring into Illustrator.
Ooh, that's a fun idea.
Like we kind of know that that's a thing that's like, if you can get something into Illustrator, you're in a world that's like very that you are very comfortable in. So kind of, like we'll make something that brings you into there, and then we'll make a few things, right? And then you end up with a blog post. So like
All
I
of
think
that
our
made
goal
me
should be
feel extraordinarily comfortable. So that sounds great.
nice.
So
All right.
we'll do a quick. We'll call it 10 minutes. We'll be back at 8:43 EST as soon as we can. Same bat channel, same bat station, bat time, not bat time. 10 minutes. See you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
One, 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 Se nessuno crede ancora che ti amo, è perché non... Se nessuno crede ancora che ti amo, è perché non mi ha mai visto in amore. Se nessuno crede ancora che ti amo, è perché non mi ha mai visto in amore.
And we're live. It's Coding with Fire again. Welcome for the second half. Thank you to all of you for hanging out, staying with us through our break. Right before we took it, we promised you that we would make you. Hold on, I put it in my text edit. We're gonna make something and put it into Illustrator, which I'm pretty excited about. What we didn't talk about is make. We said make something. Make what exactly we didn't specify. So I think there's based on the conversation we had earlier, like you said, that it's best to sort of build on the work you've already been doing. So we're very lucky and blessed to have like a bunch of different directions of different notebooks in the Coding with Fire organization of like all these different maps and stuff that we've made. And one thing that I've been wanting to write a blog post about recently is the CMU COVIDcast data, and specifically like the ability. I think the story. There's a lot of different stories you could tell with that data because it's so detailed and there's so many different things. But one thing I want to get across is just like how much data they have, like the number of indicators and the fact that it's all across America, right? So like it's one of the few ways that you can like paint really clear pictures of what the pandemic in America looks like. You know what I mean? So maybe that's the like, you know, the rough draft blog post is like what does the pandemic in America look like? Excuse me.
I like it. I think we should go for it. And
so that could be a lot of things, right? That could be like static graphics, that could be videos or time lapses. Like I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I think definitely taking these notebooks and then turning them into like a polished, like, you know, I come from like a journalism background, something that you would publish as like a news article.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting to me about it too is that like we did and you know, like this is some of our earlier streams, we made some notebooks that like made maps, and then I think we did a thing to time, like we made time lapses with observable pre-render, right? But like this is that stuff we were talking about, right? Like making this crappy little title in D3 instead of in something that you're more comfortable in, making something nice, right? So we can take some of these things and bring into Illustrator. I think for one, it's going to be interesting. Okay, like we set up all these things that you could look at, and each one has a different color scale, I think, right? Or
yep.
And so maybe this version doesn't have different color scales. I don't remember what we did. I think we had a version that did. So you bring maybe bring an example of each in the Illustrator so you can talk about these are different ways of looking at it and how you might lay that out or like group some of them together.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. Of like you're talking about the visualization of it, of like how to pick a color scale for visualizing these signals.
No, I mean what I was thinking was more like it's probably more natural to design the overview by taking a map of each of the metrics, like let's say on a given date, and playing with that in Illustrator, right? And then figuring out what you want to emphasize and what you want to like minimize and all that stuff. And then the other aspect would be the motion, like if we want to do time lapses in video, like that's where my headspace has been a lot lately in terms of you know, the FFmpeg stuff, and I don't know, I feel like that could be interesting because like we've already done the coding, and with a little bit of finagling, like we can bring that work we've already done into these two other spaces that we're both interested in, and like, you know, either good at or getting better at, and then
so you'll make a time-lapse video for like one of the signals, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, like we don't even have to commit to getting that, but it seems like that's something that we could work towards, is like making a more polished video that fits into the blog post. Like maybe that's what it should be. Is like as you know, like let's work in Illustrator where you're driving based on the stuff we pull out, and then you start bringing that stuff. You start like,
Uh-oh.
then
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. You said that you start what?
start well, like let's say we've outlined, like we've played in, you've started designing in Illustrator,
Mm-hmm.
then we outline the point that we're what we're trying to get across, and that may suggest like let's make a time lapse for one of these things. I don't
Got
know
it.
ahead of time what that might be.
So okay, so
But I feel like,
no, I'm sort of seeing a clearer image in my head. So if there was this were like a newspaper article, right, and you were like drawing a picture of the pandemic, maybe you do small multiples of like the Monday of every week. You know what I mean? And then maybe you can start to like point to different like that's when the annotation, the Illustrator part comes in, of like point to different areas as they light up. Or yeah, I mean like get those small multiples going, and it's pretty easy based on what we already have, right?
exactly,
Like
and I feel like it's like you want to take the best what the computation gives you, or doing it programmatically in D3 and observable gives you, is that you can make the small multiple, you can generate them. But then what Illustrator
yep.
gives you, like you're saying, is you can you can present them easier. So I think that's a good sounds like a good starting point.
Well, it's also cool because we have these different notebooks of like different types of maps, even like oh, it's not loading in Safari, but like there's like a bubble map version, there's a choropleth map version, like there's options even within the idea of making a map of it.
Yeah,
Like I really like
yeah,
the
we did
bubble maps.
we might have done different. Yeah, we did one where we did a couple bubble maps. So I'm trying to pull these up, and then I'm gonna put, so
Oh, and then
everything
the
we're
dot
pulling up.
density ones were really cool.
Yeah, me too. And that's where the states, right? Like this goddamn date is just ruining these things, and that's what should be an Illustrator. And then
What's so funny? So it's July 20th because that's like when we did it, sort of, or like we did it in August. So like it's been a while. Let's change the date to like September 20th. Oh, yeah, just 2 months later. Yeah.
is it gonna work? Do you have to like re-import the data or something like that?
No, it's API, right? Oh, no, because it is the New York Times data. Never mind. Yeah, you do. No, wait. No, it did
But
it.
no, we grab it from like a URL, so
Yeah,
it
so
should work.
it worked and it got much more red. Great.
Oh yeah, I see the update from you. Looks great.
Cool. Maybe it should just be this red one and you just do. What's the easiest way to get it to. Oh, I hate working with time. I just want I want one screenshot per week. You know what I mean? And then I want to make that into small. And I guess this is Canvas because it's dots. So we kind of lose the benefit of Illustrator. Or because we're not. Maybe this isn't the best. This is definitely a cool
Well,
one.
but do you lose the benefit? I mean, you
No,
may
you can
not get
still
the individual
annotate.
shapes,
Yeah. You could.
so you can still annotate and lay them out.
Let me see, like if I make a new. What's the size of this?
I'm gonna put the link to this particular one in the chat.
500 by 950. That's not right. There we go. Can I paste it?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, it has the
They,
white background. I mean, it's fine.
well, you can if you download as PNG, it won't have the white background.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
Is that so? Download PNG. One. Alright, and I'll open with Illustrator. Okay, you say this doesn't have a background. You lie. You lie.
Oh, because it's canvas, we render a white background. I'm sorry. I did lie. But I think our bubble map, yeah, bubble map's SVG, so.
I bet Illustrator will love that. Let's definitely try that out. What's the bubble map called? Or can you paste a link? Oh, you pasted a link in the chat already. Killing it. Okay, and this is on, April 20th. Interesting. What happens if you put it on today? Or like 9/20? Guess it doesn't look that different. How come they're big and not red? Shouldn't their bigness coincide with their redness? Oh, there's a bubbles too, huh?
I sent you a link to the second one.
Okay, yeah, this is cool. Can we set it, can I set this one to today, or to 9/20? 9/20. Ooh. Yeah, that changed for sure.
Yeah.
Two cases.
I think.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely more accurate. So this is, cases per 100. So this is like 1 day. I guess that's fine. So again, I guess what I want to do is I want to go through, and similar to what we did with our time lapses before, where we grab a frame for every day, but I want to grab basically a big image for every week, and then I'll drag them all into Illustrator and make a grid out of them.
Interesting. Okay, so for that, what? Yeah, I guess it would be frustrating for you to get it as like one image at a time.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, I guess the only issue is that we set this notebook up to be very. Oh, I have an idea. We could make a new one. We can import the map and just change the date. And so we could maybe set it up without. So this gives you an SVG. Yeah, let me try that. So.
Well, can you reiterate what you just said?
Yes. Sorry, I'm starting to move faster than I talk. This cell or this map, we want at different dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's like the only thing we want to change, or maybe the metric signal here.
Mm-hmm.
However, so if those are the only two things we want to change, I have an empty notebook here, and I can just
You got notebooks on notebooks, huh?
import them from this. I should be able to say map, and I get my map.
That's pretty sick.
Right? So then if I say date equals, I don't know, you had 0920, so I'm going to say 0910. I can do with date as date, because I think over here, date is the important thing. If I rerun this, oh crap. Can I read property map? Okay. As my map, I don't know. Map. Oh, I have the date backwards. So I'll do that. So yeah, that's very different, right? We really should have more, we're scaling everything to the current day. I wonder if it should be across, like...
Yeah, the global... Well, how do you'd have to make API requests, right, to get it. Or you could base them on the latest day.
Well, it's just like the latest day isn't necessarily the craziest day, right? In that area. Or I guess it makes New York blow things out, potentially.
Well, it's per 100,000 people. I would want to do cases per 100,000 people, I think.
Oh, okay, this is per 100,000, so it's not going to blow out. Okay, so I guess the other thing is we could also just give it an extent where it's like, we want like 100 cases per 100,000 to be really extreme or something, right? Like we know from watching the news in the past, whatever that number is.
Exactly.
All right, so anyway, maybe that's slightly a tangent from the problem at hand, which is using this technique, I want to generate several maps and put them together, because I think I can do something like, it's maybe crazy. Wait, no. You want these as SVGs, though.
I don't care. I'll take them as just pings or whatever.
All right, then let me try this. If I say, put this in a div, it still works, yeah. Because observable is giving me this MyMap thing is a DOM element. It is an SVG element. And so I can just insert it into an HTML thing. I could also do an SVG of SVGs, which is kind of crazy.
Ooh, that is,
so
what do you mean by that?
Well, like you can put an SVG element inside an SVG element. And so if
and so you could do tile it like that? No, I think it's easy enough for me to arrange them. As long as you title them well, so I know what I'm working with.
Right. So the question is, dynamically titling, that'll be one thing. We can go back to the observable pre-render route. Or, like, that's what I guess in my mind, I keep flipping between is like, how much do I try to compose stuff here in this environment versus generate the images from pre-render?
That's like exactly the type of question that I came into this asking of, like, that's like a fundamental question I have of like, what's the separation between the prototyping development tool and the publishing tool? Like, where should I polish? you know.
Yeah, I guess part of the thing is like we kind of want a version without these annotations, and then we probably want to use maybe like one, let's just talk it through real quick. I want to use pre-render to save out the frames for a month or like for some time period that we're interested in talking about. And or maybe we just do it for like the whole time.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's what I want. Yeah, I want a week.
every
I
day.
want one. Well, I guess every day. Sure. I want like once a week.
But then if you, right, like if we just generate all the frames,
Oh,
and
I
they
can
have
just
dates,
pick. I can just
if
pick
they're
them out.
properly named,
Yeah, for sure.
you can pick them out and throw them in and like organize them however you want,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I think what I'd recommend is that we take this thing. I'm just gonna like copy paste this, move it down here somewhere.
Well, I'm also excited because
And
we can make use of Alex's new fancy schmancy command line script for this, right?
Yeah. Oops. This is going to be map image or something like that.
Yeah, what you doing over there?
So this no longer. So I basically copied our map, and then I'm making it a new cell where I took out the title and the legend and stuff, right? Because like that's the kind of stuff that you want. Now, I do think we should solve the extent thing before we do this, because like basically with this we can use Alex's observable pre-render, which let me just pull that up, because there's a great notebook I'll share in the chat as well. Like we can just follow this thing, the CLI.
So this will let us run a command and just get an image back because Alex is a genius.
Yes, not only like one image, but like basically all of them.
Oh, so he did all that shit in the command line?
Yeah.
Damn.
The one issue is.
Did he do all these colors too? It's pretty sick.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice explainer. Like the colors map the code, the thing. Well, we may want to still use the code, which is right here and easy to use, because I don't think we want numbers. We want the date. Like we want to have more information in the file name, right? Like so that you can say, okay, This is like this date, this metric.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like everything you need to know is there. So we can, and I have I probably still have a script for when we're rendering these out earlier that we can modify.
No scripts. I want you to do it the new cool fancy way.
Well, with a new cool fancy way, the only problem is that you won't get nice file names. I mean, you'll get nice file names, but they won't tell you.
But not the nicest.
What date and metric they are. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we could. I do feel like I want like a reason to use this, but with what we've outlined.
Yeah, you're right. Let's do it like fancy, smart people.
I mean, the thing is, it's like with this, right? It's 1-to-1, pretty cool. The other nice thing is that I think I'll look at it real quick. Why don't I just pull this up instead of talking about it so much? Let's see. I think scrape art. There's many scripts in here, so we'll have to find the one that
Nice. It's a cool folder you got.
I think this clustering one actually, oh yeah, we got it with maps too, where we'll run several at a time.
Oh, sick. So it goes fast, fast, fast.
Yeah. This may be over complicated in the script, so we'll have to try. Look at this. So I mean, let's just get this right. So like this is the cell we want. So I publish this. This is the notebook I want. Let me...
Wait, but you said, hold on, we got distracted. You said we have to figure out our extent thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So for a given... Wait, we could go like, can't we look at that live website and
Yeah,
see
the
like
website that
line
I worked
charts?
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
The line charts that I made. Sure.
So like, first of all, which metric do you want to start with?
I believe cases per 100K would be best. I'll drop a link in chat.
Okay. Yeah, so if we do cases per 100K and we open up your cool website that you're working on.
But there's no full US view.
Oh, you can't like zoom out all the way?
No, you have to be like selecting at least some sort of unit, and there's no. It's because I put my blame on the API. There is no full US output for these signals. Just state by state, so you could pick like Texas.
But like,
I guess this doesn't help us, huh?
no, but I mean like 100 cases per 100K, like New York, right? Like if this is going back. Oh, it's going back to June. I want it to go.
Oh yeah, why does it only go back to June? That's wild. That's not how it's supposed to be.
But I guess if I go back to June, okay, cases in New York were like up at 1,000, 1,200, right? So, knowing that New York was one of the more populous, 1,500. So like our extent.
Yeah, I would do it. 1,500 seems like a good top end. Let's see what that looks like.
So that means that, yeah, I mean that right now. So we're cases at this date.
Yeah, and you're in map maker 2 is the cool person one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just comment this out and say extent equals 0 to 1,500. So that makes everything white color.
Well,
Unfortunate.
let's go to like a peak day, like July 4th.
Okay, can you change it?
Yeah, give me 1 second. 704. Well, this is also per county. I gave you like a state max. So let me give you
No, I was looking at New York, or New York City.
New York, the county for New York.
Or one of the counties in New York City, like,
New York,
Manhattan or whatever.
County. Well, okay.
Oh, so go to, that's in April or something.
Well, its max for cases is like 100 per day. Let's put this at like 200 and see what happens for the extent. Where should you make your new extent, buddy? Down here.
Yeah.
How's that? That seems more right-ish, maybe.
I really want a tooltip now.
Yeah, what are we looking at exactly
What we should really be doing is forking this notebook, right? And like doing this stuff. What do you think?
I agree with that, but I'm addicted. You're gonna have to tear me away from this notebook.
Yeah, March 20th, there wasn't much, huh?
Yeah.
It feels like the size, however, is scaled differently.
Well, they're scaled by population, right?
Metric extent. So what is metric extent? Oh. There's extent and metric extent. They should be the same thing. Yeah, the problem is we'd have to provide an extent for every metric. So let me fork this. Coding the fire.
Well, I only really care about like one specific metric. So like we can hard code, you know what I mean? We can hard code the extent for the one metric I care about, if that makes our lives easier.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why I want to make a new notebook, is because that last one works as is in the way that it works, right? And it's fine for what it is, but we should just, like, instead of having signal be the drop down.
Oh, just hard code it, you're saying?
Yeah, so like just signal. And we can go ahead and like, I don't need to have a map image. I'll just have this top one. I can hide the title and the legend. Well, I'm gonna leave the legend for now as we like play with it,
Yeah.
but then we animate it. All right, so let me put this in the chat. So you should play with that one too.
So for now, we're trying to make small multiples of a single metric in Illustrator. I'm pretty excited about that, actually. Because then for each week, you could pull out a Trump quote from that week of what he was saying it would be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do a little graph of, I don't know. But yeah, it's like when you pull an Illustrator, you start thinking about like a newspaper graphic more. You know what I mean? Like observable sort of gives you observable brain where you think in this very scrolly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Linear.
When was the peak New York City?
That's a great question. Like late March, I feel like. Early April.
Saying like April 10th. Queens County, New York. See, Queens County, New York had like, oh, that's cases per day, not per 100K. Is it?
No, that's cases. That's cases for 100K.
Oh, okay. So 410.
This interface could use a redesign. Somebody should give it some love and care.
So if I say 410, like these are not sized appropriately, I don't think.
Yeah, what does the sizing come from? It's not totally clear to me.
So 191
D dot P. Oh, it's the population.
stuff.
Yeah, so the circles are sized by how many people live there, and they're colored by how many have COVID.
Oh, they're sized by how many people live there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, interesting, because like it's saying on 410, Suffolk County had metric 82 cases per 100K, right? Because there's 1.5 million. Whereas
Ignore my neighbor dog.
Randolph, Alabama or something, right? Is this Alabama or Georgia? I can't tell if it got pushed or not. It has a population of 6,000, but it had 191 per 100,000, right? So this size is
Oh yeah,
not based on
that's not based.
population. It's based on the metric. It's double. We're double encoding it, the color and the size.
Well then, okay, weird.
So I guess that's one of the issues with cases per 100K is that like really small places can have disproportionate, like they'll be blown
Oh, you're
out.
right.
So I guess the thing
Hmm.
we could size them by population and then color by the metric, right?
That's what
That might
is the
be
most honest, I think. Makes the most sense. Oh, you know why we did this? We did it for the time lapse. Because it makes a way better time lapse to see it like bubble up in places where you get COVID. Because then it pops in different areas. It's coming back to me now. But that's not good for a small multiple.
All right. Well, we reserve the right to do it again. I see. So we have a population scale, so we're just not using that currently. So that's wherever we make our circles. Centroid's probably it. So we want this to be DP, I think. All right. And probably our force simulation uses R instead of P, so yeah. Problem is, like, I guess there's a lot of really tiny counties, right?
That's the thing with
Maybe
America.
we should make them slightly more our pop scale.
Yeah, make them
instead
bigger.
of
2 to like 25 or something. Wild, man.
You're going crazy, man. All right. I gotta scroll a lot. That's what you're saying, right? No. Scrolling. All right, that makes it really bubbly.
Oh, it is quite bubbly, huh?
I guess,
How come I can't see that?
You don't see what I see right now? Are you looking at the latest one I put in the thing?
Let me double check, but I really feel like I am.
The export one? Old export?
I'm double checking. That's the one I'm looking at. Let me check. Oh, no, I see yours. Sorry. There's a lot of scrolling. How come mine's not yellow, though? Mine's purple.
Oh, you have to change the metric to cases per 100K.
Got it.
So we can hard code this to just be signal equals that.
This is quite bubbly, huh?
Yeah, maybe we should move. I'm gonna move the scale, both scales up, so you can play with it near the map.
After having looked at it for 25 more seconds, think I love this, and I think that we're geniuses, and I think this is how it should be.
Okay. Another, well, one thing we should do, can you try, I guess, I mean, we're gonna go PNG, but
Oh, you want
can you just still try
to?
downloading this
Yeah, you want to see if Illustrator can handle this type of thing?
Illustrator? Yeah, I think that's a good like little mini step we can take.
Yeah, sure. I'm curious also.
Because
Oh yeah.
you may still
Oh
want to
yeah.
do that
Illustrator's fucking flying. Like,
if you're calling out a specific
bro,
day.
I haven't done this on
Can you make your
I haven't
screen
done
big?
this on the Mac Pro yet, but goddamn, does this thing know how to operate as a computer? Because it's handling all 3,000 of these little circles like it was built for it. So good.
And I like, there's probably some choices we could make with strokes or like the county. I don't know. Maybe there's stuff you can change in Illustrator, but ooh, wait. When you click on a circle, doesn't Illustrator give you some information about it? Like, can we name them, give them IDs so that they have like the county in their ID?
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that if you want to. I was just going to take away their borders if they don't have enough data. And I'm going to get rid of... The gray ones mean it doesn't have data, right?
I think so, yeah.
Gone.
Uh,
Yeah, and then if you were like a New York Times reporter, you'd fucking like draw a line at some shit, and then you'd probably like, where's my circle? You'd draw a circle around it, and you'd be like, whoa, look at this. People, get a load of this stuff over here. That's the vibe, generally. But why can I not give it a real? Here we go. But it won't let me use a real color for some reason. There we go. Which date is this?
now I'm gonna try copying, huh? 4/10, April 10th. Ah, there's so much stuff here. Keep scrolling past it. Okay, centroids, stroke, light gray. You made it bigger, like, what was the cutoff for having a stroke?
If it just like wasn't this base pink color of nothingness. And right now I'm just circling all of the places that have like hotspots for this date of April 10th. Which is like basically what I want to do. What I'm imagining, actually, now that I'm here, let me just mock up what I'm imagining this thing looking like. Just so we're all speaking the same language real quick. So if we generate one of these for each day, oops, I did not hit the right button while I did that. All right, copy instead of drag, great. So small multiples, the concept is that if you see a whole bunch of things at once, that the human brain is sort of trained to see patterns within them. So I'm imagining that if we put a bunch of weeks, that you can sort of see the outbreaks as they pop up in different locations or whatever the trends might be. I can't anticipate. Well, we sort of know what happened because we lived through it, but I'm gonna see what the data says and then annotate it. And you only need one legend that I would put at the top. right? Because the legend, the colors don't change across them. The legend stays the same for all of them. Confirm or deny this information, sir.
Stays the same. Yeah.
What are you?
So I can actually remove the legend now.
Yeah, what are you doing over there?
I'm trying to copy what you're doing in terms of like you change the style.
Right?
Right?
That wasn't
like,
super.
Sorry, remove the stroke.
I mean, I was just testing to make sure that I could do those types of edits if I wanted to.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the other thing is I'm going to ask you to try importing it again because I changed the styles to attributes to see if that makes a difference for Illustrator. Wait, and before you do that, I want to do the ID thing. So like, how will I make it so that Illustrator shows you the layer name as like this ID? I think it's d.county or something.
Can you like slugify it?
Name. Well, it's just going to be the name. What do you want it to be?
Like the slugified name?
Oh. How do I slugify something?
Use the slugify npm module.
Okay. So slugify equals required slugify.
Great work so far.
So you're saying if I say slugify hello world.
I am saying that.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna slugify the name. Man, you're like thinking ahead here, because you know what would happen if we don't. Huh?
Oh yeah.
d.name slugify. Boom. Function call. Okay.
Great stuff.
All right. So I think if you download this one as SVG now.
All right.
There's Queens.
I'll take a little screenshot of my mockup. I got a lot of circles.
I kind of want the state
right
too.
So I have 3,000. Actually, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 3,000. 27,000 circles in Illustrator right now. And it's like doing great.
Should tweet out that mockup.
Oh, you're right. When you're right, you're right. So I'm gonna download your latest as SVG, you're saying?
Yeah.
From Bubbles Export?
Yeah. Yeah, like that cell, that same map cell. Because it should basically give you the name of the county. So if you're
so I can
around and trying
that's
like,
awesome.
I want to annotate Queens because something was said about it.
Sick. All right, so you're telling me if I go in and I find a circle that I'm curious about and ungroup it and click on it again, that over here, look, it has the names. That's fucking dope.
You make yours big.
Oh no, I mean you. Sorry, I'm so
names.
sorry. That was so exciting for me. Yeah, so this is the layer palette for Illustrator. I can't make the names bigger, but you can see. Let me see if I can find the one that I have selected. Oh yeah, here it is. Oops. Jeez. That's Rockland County. Yeah, that's literally the county next to me. So then I can bring it to the top. If I can remember how to do that. And just drag it. That's really dope, though. Oh, sorry. Now I want the state in it.
Yeah, I want that too. Let's get the state. So our shapes with data is somewhere on here.
I bet it has .state in whatever data set you're using. I bet you.
Well, it has the FIPS code, and the first two letters
No,
of
we don't got to do. We have to do all
the
that
first two
garbage.
numbers.
I feel like they're just like most shape files come with .state in them. Even the county ones come with .state in them.
No, we're using the U.S.
God
Atlas, so
fucking
it
damn it!
has counties and states. Yeah, it's a quick extra step because the states. I'll show you the. It's kind of cool. This is like the new D3 way of doing this. If we basically say d3.group state shapes, and we do d.id. Oh, son of a. Am I using an old version of D3?
Yeah, you said this was cool.
We're going D3v6. Did anything break? Everything still works?
Sick.
Okay, let me close this map. Oh, the map image one, I'm gonna get rid of that one. That's confusing. Okay. Where's my group? Yes. So this basically, we have the FIPS code here. We are going to change this. Well, each of these is now an array with an object with a properties with a name, which is a lot of extra crap that I don't want to think about.
Agreed.
So let me do this. I'm going to return an object with ID. It's d.id. Name is properties.name. Okay, so now each of these has an ID and a name. We still have to get the first element. That's weird. This will be state FIPS. So now we can say state is state FIPS.get s.id. Slice the first two letters off.
Magic.
Oops. Now each of these has, well, we can get state.name. We don't know that stuff. Okay, Alabama. There we go. So,
Killing it.
put that up in the ID.
You're a great programmer, Ian.
It's, good tools make it easier. So, d.name plus, I don't know, I guess it's slugifying it, so it doesn't matter, right? d.state.
Great work.
So now whatever this little place is, rather big place, relatively. Already undefined. Great. Oh, I need to copy it here. State. I think that's going to update it. Uh-oh. Did I totally freeze out here?
Doing too much on too many circles at once. Making your computer profoundly unhappy.
Yeah, I think my connection's really bugging out now.
Your connection to Skype seems to be, I mean, knock on wood, so far, so good.
It's skipping out on a lot of stuff for me. Like, I'm not hearing you say a lot.
I'm not saying very much right now. We're very close. So I think the last remaining thing would be to do what you described with the script, is to generate images that I can pull. I can select one per week from the script, what the script generates. And then I can throw those into Illustrator, and we can be proud of ourselves for a stream well done.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll start working on the script. I don't know if it's connected back, like looking better now.
Yeah, your connection looks pretty good on my end.
All right. Yeah, I think it's sort of catching up now for me too. All right. So yeah. So yeah, there should be states in there now if you were to export it.
Dope. I might be a wild dickhead and take a 2-minute smoke break and come back and then put your small multiples together.
You know, we do this from time to time. I'll try to carry the momentum here.
I'll hang out. I mean, I'm gonna roll it, so I'm not leaving just yet. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, is there anything I can do to be helpful on this part? And I think the answer is no. I just like download the script and run it, and then select the dates out of it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm fully willing to accept I'm being terrible.
No, you're good, man. It's cool. Because we have this days thing. Yeah, we're like pretty much set up already. So if I want my start date,
it is the one benefit of coding over cooking is that you can mise en place and it just lasts forever. Like that's not true. That's a lie. But it lasts a lot longer.
There is BitRock.
There is definitely.
It does. Yeah.
I guess I ran into that exact problem earlier today because like I went to go fix my blog and there was like a bunch of like I was on the wrong node version and like there was like a problem, like I like updated one thing and that made another thing bad, you know what I mean? So it is sort of like you can't just leave ingredients to sit in a jar for a year and expect to come back and they're good.
Yeah. This one doesn't work.
All right, I'll be back in 2 seconds. And when I'm back, I'm going to run the script and select some small multiples. Can you get the title in there?
Yeah.
Looking all good and stuff, maybe?
Wait, I thought you were going to do the title.
Oh, for the date?
No? Oh, for the date. Yeah, you want to see the date.
Or maybe just tiny?
I can put it back.
Either way is fine. No, maybe you're right. What you originally said was right. Is that it'll be in the file name, and I'll label it however I want.
The file name.
It'll be in the file name.
Yeah.
All right, cool. BRB.
I'm just gonna copy this script and make a new one, and I'm gonna call this bubbles.js. And we have it set up. It will create this directory. I know I'm going to do a few of these, so I'll name it Bubbles001. How many arts? This is how many frames it's going to end up doing, and max concurrency is how many it's going to try to do at once. So there's that days variable. It's 185. I'm just going to hard code that here. And then we need what cells we want. We know we want the map cell, and I think we're going to want days and day or something like that. Dates. And then I can get width and height. All right. Blah, blah, blah. So There's an index, notebook, cells. I'm not going to redefine those. There's a way. So we just want to redefine, we want to get dates, and I believe I actually did this in a, oops, let's see, maybe it was Alex map was what we named it. Let me check this out. Yeah, this looks like it's the COVID one. So yeah, the map maker just gets the map. We get the value of days. Redefine them, and it's going to loop through the days. But what we want to do, we don't want to loop through the days. We already know the I. We want to just get the day at the index of days. So I want days here, and let's bring that over here. So we're going to get days, and then we're going to redefine date at days I, because I is which frame we're on. So we're going to loop through all the frames, and we don't care about any of these. And we're going to screenshot map into our out folder, and we want it to be, we're going to want the dates, and this is cases per 100K. I think that's all we've needed. If we need more, AJ can tell us. And I can get rid of all these irrelevant things here. Okay, so I think I wrote the script. Hopefully the width and height work out.
Hello.
Hey, you back?
Did you notice my cat getting into trouble?
I did see it sort of blurrily go by at one point.
I'm fine with it. I'm all right with it.
All right. Well, I'm actually trying to run the script right now, so we're gonna see if it worked out as planned.
Timing.
And bubbles. It's not have anything in it. Does not seem like. Oh, the notebook's wrong. God. All right. It's not deconstructed disjoint graph, whatever that was.
So many scripts, so little time.
Actually, that is something I want to go over. We're Fabian Mutari, right? He's going to join us for a stream soon. And the disjointed graph thing is not what we have planned to talk about, but it is something that he did something really cool with.
Is that the force
like
layout
forking
thing?
That's the force layout thing, and he made it 3D.
Oh, great questions in the chat. ASG017, which you could say is ASG17 if you want to.
Wait, isn't that Alex? Isn't that Alex?
Is that Alex? Yeah, Alex. Yeah, we're using PuppetShare Cluster.
Yeah, because you he actually showed me how to do it.
What are you talking about?
Well, it takes 185, it takes a lot of time because each one has to wait for the API request.
Oh, yeah.
And so basically
from the CMU API.
Doing it concurrently. Yeah, I mean, it probably takes a second to do the actual visualization. still doesn't seem to be doing what I think it's supposed to be doing. Let us console log dates. So it's one thing I also like to do is just temporarily change this to, well, I'll just do one. So just do one thing.
I think it's possible that your screen might be frozen because right now I see the terminal with node bubbles.js.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now it's different. Now I see FFmpeg. It might have just refreshed. Now I see Finder. All right, we're good. We're live. Everything's going great.
Okay. Well, PNG screenshot takes a fifth of a second, and SVG screenshot takes like milliseconds, but the API call seems like the bottleneck here. Yeah. Wait, what is SVG screenshot? Does that mean we can save SVG instead of PNG? Don't tell me he's coming in here and just like...
Oh yeah, by the way, you can do it way
saving
faster
our
with
asses.
SVG. I would take a bunch of SVGs. That's acceptable to me.
Yeah, how do we do that? Notebook.svg? Are you serious?
Fucking
That's amazing.
sick.
Okay, is this file name
Hey
okay?
Alex, while you're
Cases
here,
behind-
I really like the colors and your explanation of how the command line thing works. That's a super dope way to do it.
Yes. Very cool. We talked about that earlier. And so great work.
Yeah, that stuff. I'm way into that.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm doing something wrong because it doesn't actually save the thing. So let's see. I'm trying to redefine the days. It says the date right. It doesn't say saved. So map. Is it map or did I change it to my map? What did I do?
Oh boy.
No, it's map. The date also seems that's wrong because days I is 0. Did I not publish? Yeah, start date is this, end date is that. Days is an array. Where's days? Oh no, it does start at 410. That's strange. Why does it do that? Oh, I don't want to do that.
Alex asks if the map cell is an SVG. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me edit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
returns
nodes.
Yeah, you can download the SVG this way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it recognizes it. But it wasn't saving as a screenshot either. So I think there's something in my prep. I don't need these. So my cells, these are my cells. This is my notebook. Index, output folder, map. It's not a view of. Sometimes that's the...
Yeah, sometimes I frankly don't understand the difference or when to use one or the other.
Let me reinstall it or update it. Oh. I'm not seeing another bug here. Let me do this. I'll put it back to PNG. So, the other thing I was thinking I could do is do the command line one, right? Because like we're doing it this way to get the clustering and the file name, but I should just make sure it works. The command line way is probably more. Oh, that's gonna take.
Do it all the ways.
Well, actually,
I'm excited to. I'm like itching to use the
how about
command line
this?
way. So
Yeah, let's oops, this is still downloading. Do I have it installed globally? How do I find out? Open a new tab.
yeah, just do it.
Yes. Okay. So I want to animate. This can be our notebook. And the cool thing is I can actually paste this command to the chat in a second.
Oh,
So I'm
and
going
they
to
can
put
make. Oh, that's
Alex's
sick.
notebook.
That's pretty awesome.
So this should also tell people how to npm install, right? Somewhere.
Yes. Let me see.
Oops. But I'm down here on the bottom, the animation section. So I wanted to wait for, I don't have an update, but we'll just say map. And it'll be day in days. Update in days. Output the bubbles. 1. Let's do PNG to start. All right, so this is working, I think. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty sick. So it's going, but see, it's chugging along, right? That's why we want, because it's wait. I think
I like the word chuggling. You don't get away with that. That's good stuff.
Chugging.
It is chugging. No, it is chuggling along. That's great.
All right, and then can this one just work now?
So I'm installing observable pre-render globally, so I can also partake.
Do I need to await thing?
Do I need
wait
to
for
await? That'd be a great T-shirt.
I'm gonna wait for map.
Do I need to await?
Do I need to await?
Sell it on Thinking.
It's optional. Yeah, I mean, this has worked for me in the past, so I don't know why. Oh, I think it's the API call. Wait, did it save? The weird name? No, it did not seem to save. I'm going to stop this one for now. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but yeah, you can see it spreading. Let's make a. Is my output folder weird? I'll make a bubbles 2.
You doing this all in the same folder is kind of making my OCD go a little wild.
Yeah, it's not cool, but I think I should say what it should be like. Oh man. Make a PNG. It does not wait for it.
So the problem is that it's like
feels like-
not waiting for the API to return results before it tries to render the screenshot, you're saying?
Well, like I did wait for map, right?
Right.
Is there some kind of timeout that like either the cluster is exiting or it's the browser, or like the Puppeteer thing is exiting before the map finishes because it's waiting on the API. Puppeteer is a 30-second timeout, but it usually prints out some error message when it hits that. Yeah, because it seems to be like giving up before 30 seconds anyway. If I take out this wait for, I think it will say the file name, but it still won't print the thing. No, it didn't say the file name. So redefining dates, it did not like that. Can I get the value of, well, const date equals await notebook.value dates?
Where does I come from? Like, what's params.data.index?
Oh, it's saved it this time.
Oh, nice.
Weird. I is basically we say we tell it we want the iteration. Okay, so I think this is gonna work. Let's do it this way. I'll show you. So I say how many arts, and so if I say 185, it's gonna go. It just loops through and creates 185.
Oh, I see. And
views,
just makes an index.
And then I index it into that array. So I basically looked at the days array in the notebook and said, okay, this is a, it's 185. I want 185 of them. All right, so let's try running the cluster version and seeing if it
Oh boy.
is at least saying stuff. I'm not seeing save.
Yeah, you got a bunch of weird non-consecutive March dates, so that's cool.
Oh, but now they're saving. So yeah, I bet you if you did this on your computer, because A, your internet is solid, and B, your computer is fast,
Give me the script.
it would, all right. I think that this, part of the reasons I have it in one folder is that we have a GitHub gist going.
Yep. You say gist?
Gist. I don't know. Man, I say it different every time. I do the same thing with GIF and GIF.
Well, you don't say giraffics.
I'm telling you, I say it either way every time. It doesn't matter what you should say.
Gist?
Gist. The gist of it?
Yeah.
Gist.
GIF isn't a thing, I don't think.
It is not a thing at all. It never has been, but I still say it for some reason.
All right.
Because people want to say GIF, right?
Yeah, and by
GIF,
people,
gist.
Intelligent people.
But I want to say GIF.
No, don't say that.
So, but you're telling me I should say gist.
Yeah, that's how the word.
So the G works differently in both cases. Because if you say,
yeah,
it shouldn't, GIF peanut butter. I don't know. GIF peanut. All right, so adding bubbles. Oops. I think I updated observable pre-render. Oh, it's the same version. Okay, so I should... This... Wait, how do I get info? I want to give you the URL. I think this works. My computer is really unhappy.
Yeah,
Did I lose
that.
you?
No, you're good.
No, you're still working.
I'm all ready to receive your codes.
Well, it's like... I mean, I got my images going here.
Yeah, you're asking it to do a lot.
And then once I get it to you, we'll make it also... Oh. Funny how Google image search turns something up for this. We'll switch it to the SVG. I really want to see you SVG. Oh man, okay. Alex said you can pass in no headless on the CLI or headless false on the API to open the browser to help with debugging. I never did mention why I think it fixed. Is because when I asked it for the date value, like I redefine it and asked for the date value, I think it somehow actually updated the value.
What?
Man, what the hell? Okay. Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure why when I console logged the date value that I changed, that's when it seemed to start working.
Listen, you figured it out. That's all that matters.
My computer is like really complaining right now.
You're gonna give me this guess?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that the URL... Yeah, I think this is the URL. But like I literally am clicking on my URL, I can't copy it.
That's rough, man. It's punishing you for making it render all those images in that obscene fashion.
Yeah, so basically if you clone this, npm install...
I'm so excited.
Or you probably already have it cloned.
Yeah, I'll
and
do
maybe,
it again.
I don't know if you remember. But yeah, you might as well do it again and show the people
multiples.
How to do it.
CV coded. Should I make this bigger so people can read? All right, so I have a bunch of hilariously named files in here. Which one do I run? Cluster 2.
Bubbles. Just run bubbles.
I don't want to be difficult or anything, Ian, but there is not a file named bubbles in this.
Oh no, I know. I probably didn't get push.
Yeah.
I committed. Get push. Okay, now if you pull...
Oh, I just deleted it, but yeah, I could have pulled, I guess, huh? Oh, now I see it. Okay, so I do node bubbles, you say? Do I need an output folder? Do I need a bubbles 002?
No, you don't have to do anything else. It's like I coded it in there, so it's going to create the folder
look
for
at
you.
this guy. So just node bubbles, huh?
Yeah.
Nope. Unhappy.
So.
I cannot find a module. Should I npm I? I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I thought because I had it globally, for some reason it would work. I mean, whatever. It's installing again.
Oh yeah.
Node bubbles. Generate some bubbles. Okay. Oh, okay. Memory leak detected. A little bit of that.
Yeah, it will say that.
Yeah, it'll say that. Yeah, let me open my activity monitor. Yeah, why did you pick 20? Okay. Oh, I bet that's also true. I think I think we totally. I think we hit the limits because I see the stream doing like latency messages on Twitch. I think it impacted the stream. Yeah, that's really funny. So 20 is too much, just so we know now. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it. Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties. I stopped the script so that hopefully I ruined our lives were ruined by trying to open 20 different observable versions at once.
Well, like 20 different browsers.
20 different Chromium browsers.
Like individual. Yeah, with crazy visualizations.
All right, so now I do it and our stream doesn't break. Maybe you think?
Did you hit point or did you pull?
Pulled.
I just
I pulled. Okay. I got +5.
Nice.
All right, this seems more reasonable. Oh yeah, I got a bunch of images. Okay, and so the date's in the name. Okay, great. So while it's rendering, I can start pulling them into Illustrator. Oh, it's giving me SVG too.
Yeah. Yeah, I did add that. You see if they work?
I did add that. Yeah.
I mean, it's one line, so.
Yeah, they're there and they do work.
Nice. That man, I can't. Alex, thank you for showing up and like totally saving our stream again.
We gotta have Alex on again sometime soon.
Man. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna pick. What I need is a calendar, and then I want to pick like the Monday of every week since COVID, basically. So I'll go to month.
Yeah.
I don't show my calendars. Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh, it's so much personal information. Oh god.
Yeah, the bit rate's better on the stream now too. It's funny. Yeah, we finally found some way to.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Opening 20 headless observable, Chromium instances was enough. Finally figured it out.
And yeah, I mean, each one was generating like megabytes of SVG, and.
All right, let's see. So I'm gonna put this over here. And I'm just gonna like highlight in green, I think, the ones that I want to save. So it starts March 21st, which is a Saturday, Sunday, Monday is the 23rd. So I'll make that one green. And then the next is the 30th. Make that one green. The next is the 6th. Make that one green. Next month. Next is the 13th. This is what work is like sometimes, people. I don't know what to tell you. Make that one green. Next is the 20th. Make that one green. 27th. I remember before Visually Times, as a freelancer, I used to make the colors for states in Excel, and then I would go in Illustrator and hand color each state to make a choropleth. That's my version of the walking uphill both ways to school story. In my day, we had to make our choropleths by hand.
You see that this time lapse already looks pretty good. I can just give you the fmpeg command to get it.
I'm so close to being able to make my small multiples, and then we can go to bed because I'm so sleepy and I have work tomorrow. Yeah,
I gotta work tomorrow too.
So you can't just be super powered and get off and do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm like done now, but I just had the thought, which is a great thought, that I should do the first of the month for every month to start off, and that might even be better.
Had to click so many times?
I wouldn't have had to click so many times, you know what I mean? And I might make a better small multiple. We'll see. I'm going to finish this job, and then I might abandon it.
All right, then I also want you to run this ffmpeg command when you get a second after you're done with that, because you have, I think yours actually is going to finish downloading all the data, right?
Yeah, it's still running, which is kind of crazy to me. 2229.svg 6.svg 13.svg 20. We're getting close. We're so close. We're in July now.
Indeed.
All right, so you're saying once it's done rendering all these images that I should run this command?
Yes. Then it should very quickly generate a full time lapse for you. I still feel like the other way we did it, where we sized it by the metric,
it does make for a better
time lapse again,
but a worse small multiple, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, right? Like, it's a distinction that like until you try it, it's not obvious. I guess we did the one the dot density. This one was cumulative.
I really liked that one too. That might have been my favorite time.
I don't think we ever
the
did
dot density one.
Yeah. But cumulative isn't as interesting for small multiples at all. But
yes, agreed. No,
I guess the counters
yeah, no,
would
it
just,
isn't really
if we did the
for small
dots,
multiples. Unless there were like drastic changes, but I mean, no.
I guess if you figured out the extent and the we at one point did have extents for each of the metrics. Yeah, you could do this for each metric, but we're here at this one. There's a lot of weeks that it looks like it gave you more images.
Man, my computer is going insane. All
Is
right.
it
So close. We're at August 24th.
nice?
I think the first of the month might be. Well, is it for that day though?
It is for that day.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess when you do these weekly things,
Yeah, you would kind of want to aggregate it by week somehow, but that sounds like a lot of work.
yeah. I guess even if you loaded all, you don't necessarily load all of them, but then like took out places where it was gradually changing. Like, so if you kind of wanted to find like big days in different regions,
Yeah,
or
totally.
because it might be that the interesting thing, isn't seeing all of them. That's a lot, too much. But what out of those things do you want to call out?
I'm going to try and grab the first of the month for as many months as I can. So April, May 1st, June 1st, July 1st.
Did it finish rendering all of them for you?
Yeah, it's like it's missing some in the middle. I was like looking for August 1st and it like wasn't there, I don't think. August 1st. August 1st and September 1st. SVG. Alright, so now we have 6 SVGs in our hand. Let's see if we can add them to our Illustrator file. Let's delete our old fake ones. And it's the same scale for all of them? Still?
Yeah. So we made it set to one extent.
Well, it's going to open them all as separate files. don't like that. Alright, I mean, it's whatever. So we'll grab April. Close. Don't save.
Can you make your screen bigger?
I'm just gonna copy. This is just a bunch of copying and pasting and labeling. So this is what 5. We'll just make them all 500. Oh no, that was bad. These aren't locked. Lock it. 500 pixels wide, and then I'll label it that it's April, and this is just for me to use later. I'll like make these pretty at some point, but just so I know what I'm looking at. And it looks like 500 is still too wide, so I'll make this like 380. Whoa. They're not grouped. Make the whole thing with 380. There we go. All right, so we got April, May. No, we want April. Oh, that is how months work. Yep, May. My bad. Sometimes it's like, you know what I mean, if you say a word too many times, like, it loses its meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like that about the months.
It's pretty interesting to see just like being able to select and manipulate all those like 3,000 circles
wild.
And all the like 3,000 paths too, because of all the counties. And the states, yeah, and you can just like click and drag them around. It's like a different feeling.
This is May, June, and then July. July. It's a little bit slower. Normally, like, I wish that it had let me just drag them all into the same document, because then what I'm doing right now would be a lot easier.
Oh.
Like, I wouldn't have to do, like, I could just rearrange them all at once, basically. We'll make this August and September. August, September, and over we go to, what's up?
Did you drag and drop it?
Yeah, I dragged them all from like my file finder, because that was the easiest way to pull out the various separate dates. But
it's weird that it did that.
Well, it's because they're different files, so it's sort of assuming that I don't want to import them, but I want to edit them, which I guess is a fair guess, because it is the SVG editing application. But I guess I could have done import and then selected them all through the file dialog, but I'm about done, and I just thought of that, so.
Yeah, but I mean, this goes back to like our conversation in the very beginning, right? It's like when you do, like, we go through this process, we tried this way of like, okay, our goal is to get something into Illustrator, right? And from Observable, we'll get a bunch of things in Illustrator. And now that we've done it end to end, right? Like the next time, or you wake up tomorrow and you think like, oh, I didn't want months and this. I wanted the thing that we generate to be a little different, and I want it organized like that, whatever that other way is, you're already like you have everything you need, and you've already gone through all like the
Well, and you've
painful
thought
parts.
of ways
So
to like do it smoother or, you know, do it better, right?
yeah, like also make it easier on yourself. Yeah, either like generate it slightly differently or yeah.
All right, I just need to put April in and then I'm done. There it is. It's 380. Yay. No, this one is too big. 380. There we go. Yeah, now we're talking. It's kind of crazy with using the color. Actually, I shouldn't say April. I should say April 1st. It's really the first of all these days.
What do you mean in crazy using the
So,
color?
like, it's funny, like, you'll see, I guess, again, now that we're done, I know, but, like, the ones that have value are often very small. You know what I mean? And they're also behind other counties, which are bigger.
So it should be sorted, like we should sort it by
Exactly. I would sort it by the metric. Each centroid should be sorted by the metric value.
it's like, and should it be that I guess the last thing you want to have plotted is the biggest thing.
Yes.
So you
Yeah,
want
it's
it to
funny. These
go,
maps don't show really what is my understanding of how this outbreak happened. Like, they don't really reflect what the time lapse. Right. So let me play the time lapse and look at it next to this small multiple, because I don't think it really does the time. I don't think it really represents. It isn't what I would hope it would be, which is like
yeah,
a
I think
condensed version of the time lapse in like static.
yeah, I think if we look at the time lapse, it will give us a sense of why that is.
Oh, that just did it. That's hilarious. Sick. Okay, so let's see. This is our time. Yeah, so you see it in the East Coast, and then you see like little blips and blurps in the Midwest, and then you see we see Florida and the South. Yeah, it doesn't really show the directionality in the small multiple. Like, you kind of want to see more of the trend when you're capturing it at like a month or a week basis. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do wonder if the week, one day a week would just get more like, you'd see more of that detail, but
All right, I'm gonna finish my small multiple. I'm gonna make it tweetable, and then we can say goodbye to the people. We already streamed. We just streamed for 3.5 hours, so I'm pretty proud of us.
nice. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, you should also tweet. You can also tweet the video,
totally.
right?
Let me just make these labels correct, because it's not May, it's May 1st. It's not June.
Just so people know this is the final notebook.
Thanks
for
everyone
this
for
one.
hanging out. This was an awesome stream. Thanks to Alex for that dope advice. You know, thanks to Hell on Earth for hanging out again. Thanks to Mega Fees.
That's what's up.
September 1st, great. And then wish that these were Helvetica and smaller. Where's the line? There it is. Oops, wrong button. And what metric is this? This is cases per 100,000?
Yep.
I'll steal our legend back over. $100,000. Oops. 100. Trace rate 100K people. Much better. There we go. There's some things I would definitely do for a next draft. Like, I already have ideas of things that I would do next time, but this is pretty sick. The workflow of doing things in Observable and getting a bunch of stuff out that you can then work with in Illustrator is really cool.
Nice. I agree.
Let me try just drawing some circles just because it's interesting.
Drawing some
I'm
circles.
just like looking for hot spots, you know what I mean? That are like kind of small for the eye to see, but if you zoom in, you can sort of see them, and then I'll just draw some black circles over them just to like bring the eye to them.
You know what I realized also, and you could still do this, is if you leaf, either use the timelapse or just like leaf through Finder, right? Like scroll through the things. If you just picked out particularly bad days, one bad day for each month, and then like you would just put that date, right? It would be like August 10th and September whatever.
But
like
some
those,
some people would
those are
argue
hot.
that that's For some reason, those arbitrary days are somehow less trustworthy than the arbitrary days of like the first of the month. If that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't necessarily need to be arbitrary though. If you're saying like, because what if you said you're looking through and you find, I mean, this you might want to do programmatically, but like, you know, the first time cases went above 100 per 100K or whatever in Florida, and the first time it went in the West Coast, and the first time, right? Like, so that you're, I guess my thinking here is that like you laid out these, was it 8, 6, 8? I don't know. I can't see the whole screen anymore, but you have them for each of the months. But if it was just like 8 times that progressively, you know, things happen.
Yeah, I mean, so I circled like where I saw red stuff in them,
good.
and so you sort of see a little bit of it, like New York, and then a little bit in the Midwest, and then a little bit in the South, and then more in the Midwest in July, and then like everywhere in August and September, more in the mid. I don't know how you like it.
I guess, yeah, like I think we're at a good spot. But I think it would be worth a shot to like do that leafing thing, like to try pulling out 6. There wouldn't be arbitrary days. It would just be 6 bad days.
Yeah, well, if you do it programmatically,
you're not
though,
necessarily,
like if you like find out in the notebook what the worst day for each month is, then you can just say that and explain your methodology of like, we looked for the worst day for COVID cases for each month, you know what I mean, in the entire US. For each month we picked the day with the most number of COVID cases per 100,000 people. But that's the thing, we don't have the nationwide metric. That's what's missing to help do this like nationwide analysis, right? Is we're looking at a nation, but it's composed of a bunch of counties that don't, you know what I mean? And we would have to do our own analysis on like all of them together to do those extra steps.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. Like, it does still feel, and you mentioned doing this a while ago too, is like, you kind of just want to download like, have the CSV or whatever for every day.
Right.
And be able to, like, scan over that and ask questions like we're doing. Because it's not always just like, what was the worst day? It's like, what was the worst day for this area or this county, or like when were like most of Florida counties above this metric, that kind of stuff, right? Like, one of the limitations is that the API, I guess that could be for another stream or another day, is like, because once you have that file, it would also speed up our thing, because we wouldn't have to hit the API every time. You talked about caching it, yeah.
I think this was super fun. I'm about to tweet out our success tweet. I want to doubly thank out everybody for hanging out and asking questions, and Alex for making cool libraries, and all the people in the chat.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Me and my mischievous cat, say goodnight. And we're doing another one tomorrow?
Yes, good night too. I think we could. I like I said, I really want to mess around with that emoji thing. So if you're down to play with that,
Yeah, I'm down. Let's have like a less
And,
serious, no more death data, a non-death data oriented show tomorrow stream.
it won't be a map.
Well,
It won't be a map, and it won't be deadly.
that'd be great.
Yeah,
All right,
that'd be nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially for a Monday, right? Because it's Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You don't
And so,
want
like,
more. Yeah, you don't lay it on
Well,
thick.